My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
Builders, INC, gang stalking. This is light activity and relevant positioning. And this is the fourth plane coming from 537 North Euclid Avenue. 17 7:10 a.m., 7:13 a.m., 7:16 a.m., and it is 7:18 a.m. Maintaining what is demonic patrolling. This is psychopathic behavior, and it is stalking by the airport. There are no planes that are taking off hovering over what would be E Street in Euclid. This is the UNICARE Community Health Center, and what is at 537 North Euclid Avenue, flying over the building right here next to me at 537 North Euclid Avenue, just like I documented the other night. And the demons, who are the people of the state, stalking with light. This is where the entity is capturing, where I'm capturing the state's fake sun. This is what Leonida are doing when they're stalking in the path with vehicles that are a method of light activity, and they move in the parking lot as I'm walking. This is what a population is doing while they're maintaining light in the path. That's the massive evidence of what is stalking and demons that are stalking with light pursuant to monitoring. ARCO is engaged in that criminal pattern of conduct. CHEVRON is, and the entity is maintaining this on E Street because this is where I'm located, and this is also why the entity at 7:10, 13, 7:16, and 7:18 right now, ongoing patrolling right here where the entity is engaged in light activity. This is P.O.C. 7:18, and this is 7:19, 60 seconds later. Alright, this is the entity that's engaging in conduct, which again, Ronald Loveridge and Julia Gu, Jim Bowman and Kurt Hagman, as well as Alan D. Wapner. They're engaged in terrorism, and the entity is resuming ongoing gang stalking in concert with the people of the state who are aiding in the elements of monitoring. This is why the entity is stalking with planes and helicopters, while the people of the state and the state on the ground all around are surrounded with light activity, and they do so under a fake sun. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 7:19 a.m. The demons are flying, patrolling right here, pacing. There's no takeoff when you're, first of all, engaging in nothing but a U-turn. Second of all, it's amplified audible activity. These are demons at the stoplight. This is all demonic. And so are Leonida operating those vehicles. Those are demons, and I'm going to prosecute again. The president, Leonida, is the president of that corrupt company that's engaging in monitoring my vagina, engaging in criminal surveillance, and doing so crossing path license LEOBLD2. They are going out of their way to engage in with impunity, as the demons also are aware that they're being documented, and they're going to be prosecuted in the shoes of the state. It's not a legitimate business, just like every other business in California, just documenting. P.O.C. 8PSB 828. You'll see the image that I captured. I just showed the entity. This is demonic. The fake sun rises and shines, and then it covers it up really quickly. The entity is maintaining plane after plane after plane. That's psychopathic behavior. That's the pacing. This is P.O.C. It's 7:20 a.m. All right, the gang stalkers, Chevron and ARCO. ARCO, third-party facilitating venue, sunrise and sunset documented, 434 North Euclid Avenue. This defendant is headquartered in Los Angeles, California. It is a certified gang stalker, and they are engaging in that pattern of conduct systematically and engaging in what is documented violence with the state with impunity. And ARCO's employee gang stalking me, engaging in federal stalking license 5 Sam David Henry 514. And I also want to document, I've heavily documented Starbucks. I've documented all the demons employed there. I've documented their patterns of violence, the impunity, the fake sunrise and sunset. And even though they're across the street, so the evidence of the sunrise and sunset at Chevron and ARCO would prosecute Starbucks for the specific environment. My documentation and the fake sun is very peculiar. It goes to the opposite side of the street. So I literally have the fake sunrise and set with regard to Starbucks as well. The Chevron, this is the defendant gang stalking located at 506 North Euclid Avenue, and the gang stalker employee that's monitoring with regard to the entity that's providing evidence, the demons of CMAX providing light activity, the demons of Leonida Builders Inc. providing light activity, stalking in the path, the demons of the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire. I've documented all of this, including the specific environment, which is maintained by planes and helicopters and the government aiding in the pattern of conduct with the people of the state, who all they are cockroaches pacing all around me, stalking. All right, license 9EFH194. She's inside, gang stalking, engaging in federal stalking, and the demons go to the gas stalls at ARCO and Chevron, maintaining criminal presence in the path, providing a record to prosecute themselves, by the way, and the entities engaging in this while the government's engaging in documented criminal pattern of conduct. So it is. I just want to make sure I document that. Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, and UNICARE, which is located also at... Go ahead and put that on the record. This is where the entity is pacing in the planes at the E and Euclid Avenue intersection. They're doing so while I'm located. That's why the entity is not flying north of my person over the, for example, the church that's next to the bus stop. They're not flying beyond me. They're flying right where I'm located and engaging in what is U-turns, which is pacing as well. The entity is engaging in this conduct with the companies that are engaging in what are the maintenance of facilitating venues. This is how public corruption is executed. You're going to prosecute the people of the state going by the name of Starbucks, UNICARE, ARCO, CHEVRON, and that's just right here at the intersection. The whole state is monitoring. I'm documenting where I'm located, where the entity is targeting me with the instruments of federal stalking, using planes, and by using planes, you're using an entire airport. By using what is a gas station, you're using the people of the state. Every business is engaging in that pattern of conduct. They're all monitoring via communication devices and stalking me. And that is also proven by the fakes in which I captured. And these are demons. This is demonic. The environment is demonic. The behavior is demonic, and also the delusion. While they're being documented, engaging in more of it. For example, C-Max is a documented gang stalker. They're stalking with flashing light. Okay, so it's a street sweeper. That's a demon that's engaging what is stalking in the path with light activity. So as I document, then the demon just parks the vehicle to maintain prolonged light activity. Just like the demon that parked in the wrong direction to get out and make a purchase, parking on the wrong side of the street with their hazards on, doing so as I'm documenting them. This is the impunity of demons that are psychopaths. They're going to prison and they're going to be committed. They're going to have criminal records. They're going to sorely regret the reputation of the company. This is what the entity does, though, because you're dealing with mental illness. You're not dealing with people that have concerns, that you're dealing with a demonic spirit. And then when that vessel, who are the people that are demon possessed, are facing these consequences, that's when you're going to be crying in court. And these are psychopaths. It's not even like healthy emotional responses. These are people that are dead. This is the Nephilim, okay? But I will be documenting the people of the state. That's what I capture by license plates. And these are the businesses engaging in gang stalking. They're profiting. That's the federal RICO case against the state. All right, this is P.O.C. Maintaining demonic pacing, one demon after another going into the Chevron, where I'm located. Just like the planes concentrating on the intersection where I'm located. Stalking. Very demonic. This is the entity that has the impossible light activity inside of the library. That demonic light activity, these are demons that are stalking, and it's mental illness. It's very sick behavior. Very sick, and these are not humans. These are demon-possessed stalkers. I'm going to go ahead and get their license plates. License 8XAV666, 7SWR534, 8CLH649, 9PHA147. And again, the business builds up, and this is prosecuting Chevron. Okay, and I just want to be clear, you're not holding on to the funds that you're making, the profits that you're making while you're gang stalking either. License 9UBM796. All right, and she's monitoring me while the demons are pacing in and out of the, her name is Balbir. She's gang stalking. She's engaging in terrorism while the customers pace in and out, stalking me inside of the market, doing so with the entity that's stalking with planes. And I've documented being terrorized by helicopter. I've documented all that. Being terrorized while the entity is stalking with a fake sun. And as I document in real time, the demons begin pacing inside of the business builds up. Where I go, that's the pattern of conduct as well. This is also why gang stalking businesses are not maintaining the profits that they gain while gang stalking me. This is where the demons go. It's not about how great their coffee is at Starbucks. The entity was filled up with customers gang stalking me, and you're not holding on to those profits. And I'm also going to recover damages based on the criminal pattern of conduct. In addition to criminally prosecuting that business and the demons that are facilitating Starbucks, and this is just a legal analysis, the example of it, facilitating the company Starbucks to profit from being a terrorist. All right, a domestic terrorist in the U.S. It is currently, because the companies can't do it without the demons that are working there, engaging in public corruption with the government. All right, it is Thursday, and it's Thursday, October 9, 2025. This is criminal conduct that's on the surveillance cameras. This is in concert with the Ontario International Airport. Ronald Leverage and Jim Bowman, Kurt Hagman, Alan D. Wapner, and Julia Gu are engaged in terrorism, and this demonic means of stalking as a population is coexisting with stalking with planes in the sky space immediately over me while they are pacing. And stalking in California, when you're being targeted, is occurring in a readily identifiable specific environment, which is already established, which then the demon-possessed are maintaining, by example, keeping their hazard lights on at the gas stall when you're pumping gas. This is what the demons at license 9PHA147 are engaging in at gas pump number 1. Just stalking, and that's what the demons at gas pump number 6 are doing. They park with their turn signals on. They park with their hazard lights on. They stop on the side of the road. You're doing the same thing. It's light activity. This is what C-Max, the street sweeper, this is what Leonida Builders Incorporated. It's light activity, and it's massive light activity while the entity is stalking me as a population of demons under a fake sun. Okay? And Balbier, her license plate is 9EFH194. In the name of Chevron, which I'm going to prosecute civilly and criminally, is engaging in terrorism. And terrorism is absolutely underway when you're being stalked inside of a small little market by demons that are obsessively acting in furtherance of murder, doing so as psychopaths that are stalking you with light, stalking you as a population. These are the demons stalking in the library, that population, that light activity that's pursuing me in the depths of the library, being molested on the elevator with impossible light. These are demons that are engaging in that conduct, stalking me everywhere that I'm going, physically stalking with light, which with regard to their monitoring. And so is the business Chevron, okay? Every business in California is engaging in criminal surveillance. It is currently, again, 8:02 a.m. License 22564U3. And Alabassi Construction and Engineering, license number 883649. And the license plate is 86271C3. Parking with the hazard lights on is a method of light activity while going in and just making a purchase from Chevron, which you're going to prosecute for its light activity relevant positioning. It's aiding the government in surveillance. They're engaging in federal stalking at the gas stalls, coming in and engaging in the elements of monitoring, which Chevron and the employees are sharing in. Okay, literally relying on demons to be at the market. So then you're a customer and you're profiting off of gang stalking, which is committed in furtherance of murder. That's, in other words, the prosecution of businesses for the conspiracy to murder by engaging in state targeting. It is 8:03 a.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, and this is relevant also to what is potentially a basis of deportation regarding immigrants engaging in terrorism, which is representing the entire population. But I want to document the employee. It's at the Chevron. I believe her name is pronounced Balbier. Engaging in terrorism with the government, engaging in terrorism with the people of the state, engaging in terrorism as a corrupt business is fully exposing you to deportation. It will be shared with German and the other employee as well with regard to deportation by the demon-possessed homegrown terrorists coming in, making purchases on surveillance cameras with their credit cards, and doing so with regard to federal stalking, which is also a means of documenting them, engaging in what is the malice of stalking in the shoes of the state. Doing so when you are not protected by making a purchase, you're providing a paper trail. And I just want to be clear, deportation is directly relevant to that. You're going to deport malicious terrorists like what the employees at Chevron represent, like what the people of the state represent. It is currently, I just want to make sure that that's clear, because that's exactly what's going to result from prosecuting Chevron. Any immigrant that's gang stalking, you're being deported. It is it's 8:05 a.m. while the people of the state engage in congregating. More and more of the demons line up at the gas stalls and come inside, and you're going to be deported. So with regard to whatever statement you think you're making, you're stating that you don't want to be in this country and you won't be. This is P.O.C. License Edward George 65 Robert 68. That's a paper plate on a Nissan Sentra. Gang stalking at Chevron. This is the same Chevron where I'm documenting the entity stalking with planes and helicopters under the fake sun and under the fake moon at night with impossible light activity, doing so as the people of the state. License plate 8 Thomas Mary Frank 340. 8 Xavier Wendy Xavier 416. 9 Nancy Igloo Charlie 062. And you will see the fake moon over me at Chevron at 9:11 p.m. while the people of the state are gang stalking as an entity on behalf of the government, doing so pursuant to a pattern of conduct and following me to 537 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm subject to the pattern of conduct of sexual violence, stalking with light, molestation with light, harassment, and domestic terrorism with light. Light that is supernatural light, engineered light, pursuant to what is criminal monitoring that's committed by the government that's acting in concert with a population, and that population is going to be individually prosecuted as a terrorist, and the government is being prosecuted as a terrorist as well, acting through a population. This is P.O.C, and this is uploaded to the Google Drive. As you see what I'm doing on my phone, this is the moment that demons begin sounding plane activity. Stalking. This is the ongoing demonic pacing. All right, that is the entity gang stalking by United Airlines. And as I've been showing you, doing so under the fake sun that is covered up. I'll show you what the entity already has here. It's already on the record. This is what the entity is keeping right here over me, just like when they're stalking with the fake sun at Chevron and ARCO under the fake sun, where those demons are stalking with commercial planes at E and Euclid, maintaining plane activity. When I'm at E and Euclid, there are no planes flying over the Ontario Town Square. They're flying right where I'm located. Where I'm located is where the fake sun is remaining. This is where they were pacing repeatedly, doing U-turns, flying repeatedly over E Street, stalking me where I'm located. And I want to show you where is the fake sun that's on the same Euclid Avenue over me, where I'm documenting that pattern of conduct. And as I upload the evidence on the internet, this is relevant to psychological torture. Ronald Leverage, Julia Gu, Jim Bowman, Kurt Hagman, Alan D. Wapner, these are terrorists that are going to be prosecuted. This is the fake sun in alignment to me, where the Ontario International Airport is stalking with planes, doing so one after another, after another, after another over Euclid Avenue. There are no planes, first of all, that are on schedule with regard to 7:10, 7:13, 7:16 a.m., 7:18 a.m., 7:19 a.m. as I captured on video. And then as I walk north of Euclid Avenue, the entities engage in it, and I documented the same pattern. As I upload, this is monitoring on the internet. The entity flies another plane. This is demonic pacing. This is mental illness that the demons who are stalking in planes are going to be used to diagnose them while they're engaging in criminal conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring, where the fake sun is right here. And I want to be clear, it's 9:57 a.m. When you're looking at this fake sun, these are demons. This is the psychopathic conduct. The mental illness exhibited by demons stalking in planes is shared by a population of demons who are all stalking. This is a wide back that's engaged in what is stalking another woman. She's actually a homosexual. When you are analyzing the behavior of a woman stalking another, obsessed with my genitalia, doing so inside of the venue of the OVITT Family Community Library, those are all demons stalking. And Leonida, Brightview, the city of Ontario, surrounding with light activity, these are demons, while the entity is hovering over the Ontario Town Square. Don't forget, yesterday after 5 p.m. What is it that you're looking at? That's honking the horn as I change operation on my phones. That's a demon that's monitoring. Don't forget what you're looking at yesterday evening. Now, when the fake sun is over the Ontario Town Square, hold on, pray tell, what is going to be outside of this same exact venue right here? This same exact venue right here, outside of the windows of this same library after 6 p.m. when you're looking at it right here, where the Ontario International Airport, those are the demons calling themselves an airport board. They're going to be prosecuted for terrorism, and they're going to be prosecuted for facilitation as well. They're monitoring my vagina, and the clear evidence is the scientific phenomenon where you're deviating from taking off at an airport to stalk me, and they do more of it as I upload the evidence, which is going to put them in prison. This is mental illness that's shared by the population. Stalking with noise, like you're hearing, mental illness. Stalking with light, like the city of Ontario, Leonida, Builders, LLC, CMAX are engaging in, Brightview are engaging in. That's a mental illness. The people of the state are doing so while they're inside of a library, being demons, stalking in an irreconcilable environment.
Just
because
that you can see, reaching out toward me, the targeted individual, and
these are demons. This is inside of the library that I'm looking at right now, and this is at 6 o'clock in the evening. The fake sun is outside of the same library at 8 o'clock in the morning. What sun is going to be aiming any sort of light activity like this? Not only that, it's aiming directly toward me. Second of all, this is where the entity is stalking by planes and helicopters. The mentally ill are the demon possessors, the Nephilim. And I want to be clear, those that are going to prison, such as those that are sitting on a so-called airport board, they're going to prison for the ceaseless pattern of conduct. The demon possessed are going to be diagnosed for gang stalking. Okay, gang stalking, which is committed in furtherance of murder. And the OVITT Family Community Library is ceaselessly engaging in a pattern of conduct with a population of demons who are stalking in the path. They're maintaining surveillance just like they are outside.
This is stalking in the path everywhere that I'm going. A demon is present to keep me under surveillance, stalking. Doing so under the guise of a business, Wells Fargo. Doing so under the guise of traffic, the people of the state. The demons that are molesting at nightfall with impossible light, it's not their headlights. Doing so under a fake sun, studying their devices, engaged in federal stalking with the demons that are maintaining the elements of monitoring, stalking over here under a fake sun that's remaining in alignment to me here, remaining in alignment to me through the library. And again, let me show you what you saw on video, because this is what the demons are doing, and then I'm gonna end this video. As you're looking at the light activity,
outward,
you're gonna see the fake sun shining through the OVITT Family Community Library, right there. This is impossible light activity.
This is P.O.C. inside of the OVITT, where the terrorism underway by impossible light activity is captured. And pay attention in real time as you see the fake sun shining brighter and brighter.
This is at 6 o'clock in the evening. I'm showing you what is the entity keeping the fake sun. That is, as you're looking at the Ontario Town Square, where the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking at 8:47 a.m. and they're pacing around me. That's a communication with that department's being shut down. They're engaging in stalking with the population. This is them driving around the perimeter around me, communicating a threat. They engage in kidnapping. They encounter me and make up harassment so that they can kidnap me and search my property. And they're doing so with the demons that are engaging in stalking right along with them. They're doing so under the guise of airlines. Those airlines are going to be prosecuted. The Ontario Airport Board is going to be prosecuted, and they're doing so. When a fake sun is outside of the library at 8:47 a.m., there is no sun that's going to be aiming through the depths of this same library after 6 p.m. That is relevant to the entity that is indeed stalking using commercial planes and doing so with real-time knowledge of what it is that I'm documenting as I'm documenting it. That's what's relevant when I'm showing you my screen. When I start this video, as soon as I start uploading the evidence that you're threatening me, you're stalking and terrorizing me, you're sexually violating me, and another demon in an airline plane is engaging in what is ongoing monitoring and psychological torture committed in furtherance of murder. The Ontario Airport Board is going to be prosecuted. This is the entity that's publishing the evidence of what is targeting, because none of this is published on the website. And the moment that I start capturing this screen recording, then the flights stop. But it doesn't matter if they continue. I've captured them continuously, foolishly, doing it on camera. You're going to prison regardless. And this is the entity that's going to be prosecuted for federal prosecution, public corruption. All right, this is P.O.C. The entity is engaged in monitoring, and it's all captured inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. There's no sun that will be here at 8 in the morning and still over the same entrance, like I captured Leonida, Brightview, the demons gang stalking as a population, right? And the fake sun is over at 12:26 p.m. That's the entity that is stalking, and the Ontario International Airport is going to be shut down. Leonida builders, those are hiring immigrants. They're going to be deported, and that's a corrupt business. And even if that president is an immigrant, that president, Leonida, is going to be deported, engaging in what is furtherance of murder while gang stalking me with the government. And the city of Ontario incriminates everybody. The demons of the city of Ontario you are making money from it. I'm going to drain your pockets, and I'm going to prosecute you as a criminal, as a terrorist. And they're doing so with the Ontario International Airport. This is P.O.C. It's currently 10:03 a.m. This is impunity that you're going to prosecute for. This is impunity, and this is a demon-possessed person that's also keeping my vagina under surveillance and going about engaging in sexual violence and criminal conduct in concert with the government that's going to be removed as a police department that's facilitation of sexual violence and stalking, and doing so inside of bathrooms. And they go inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is a demon keeping their head down while they're stalking in your face. This conspicuous stalking is exactly why they're going to prison. They wear police uniforms doing the exact same thing. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:04 a.m. and this is also relevant to what is the necessity of shutting down the airport, the fire department, the police department in Ontario that's engaging in violence and furtherance of murder. A failed because it's fully exposed, and they're still engaging in a conspiracy to murder while they're being documented at the same time. You're going to shut down those terrorists while they're engaging in this. This is a population that's engaged in this surveillance. Will not stop stalking, will not stop pursuing, will not stop engaging in surveillance, even when the feds are going to raid you, and you will not be accomplishing any sort of murder in secret or gang stalking of any other person. This is P.O.C. This conspicuous stalking is exactly why the kidnappers at the OVITT Family Community Library are going to prison, because they're doing so with the Ontario International Airport, the Ontario Police Department. This fake sun is still present, aiming at after 6 p.m. inside of that same library, where the entity is engaging what is criminal, stalking in the path, stalking you, doing so in your face while looking the opposite direction. This is mental illness, and the entity is going to be both committed and convicted. This is P.O.C. This is 224 North Euclid Avenue. All right, remember, I'm at 9:59 a.m., the Fontana Lewis Library. And I'm also on what is
Route 66 at the Montclair Transit Center, getting on the bus at 9:59 a.m., 10 o'clock, where I'm documenting the entity keeping a fake sun, which is not going to be over the Ontario Town Square. And the sun is still not going to be at the same location, so low down to the ground, by the way, that it's aiming light like a laser into the depths, aiming toward me, targeting with light, which is what demons are doing, who are also targeting my vagina. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 10:05 a.m. I want you to be mindful, because these are the ones that I'm going to prosecute. And by I, meaning they are terrorists. They're engaging in domestic terrorism in the United States. They are a threat to the country. They're a threat to American citizens, and this is necessitating the removal of that airport altogether. That's engaging in criminal conduct under the corruption of this demon, Paul Leon, right behind the building of the library, gang stalking me, not ignorant about the ongoing public nuisance of the Ontario International Airport, targeting, flying over the Ontario Town Square, while he's sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct. And the demons are engaging in this P.O.C. with regard to what is these domestic terrorists: Alan D. Wapner, Kurt Hagman, Ronald Leverage, Jim Bowman, and Julia Gu. Not an Ontario Airport Board. That's a deceptive misnomer. They're terrorists, and they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. They're doing so with regard to the entity keeping under surveillance an American citizen that is keeping tabs on it, documenting it in order to prosecute. These are terrorists, and they're going to be removed from the position, and so is the airport. Understand, while they're engaging in criminal monitoring, gang stalking, and so are the airlines, they're a threat to national security. All right, so you have what is the entity engaged in this, committing murders, and doing so while they're facilitating violence, such as conspicuous stalking by a population that's mentally ill. And those that are immigrants in the United States, those are their immigrants in California, those that are immigrants in Ontario, they're being deported. This same disdain and impunity is shared by those that are given the privilege to be in this country, and they're being shipped out. They're a threat to this country, and they're a threat to American citizens. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:07 a.m. where you're seeing the fake sun over me. And remember, I'm on Route 66, documenting the fake sun over me in Montclair to Upland, California. That's P.O.C. Criminal summoning by the City of Ontario. The departments that are being shut down: the fire department, the police department, gang stalking, massive facilitation, just like using the airport, massive facilitation. While the same criminal system that the demons of the Ontario International Airport employ, as I upload the evidence, the entity maintaining ongoing amplified plane engines, so utilizing what is criminal summoning, the criminal misuse of emergency vehicles by psychopaths who are stalking, and an entirely laid out exposed system, which is occurring in front of the whole world. So I'm both prosecuting and I'm embarrassing Satan. Okay, it is currently 10:10 a.m. where the City of Ontario is engaging in the federal offense of criminal summoning, and doing so with impunity. Meaning, this is necessitating the removal of that airport. This is necessitating the removal of that fire department. This is necessitating the removal of that police department. And I want to be clear, all three that I just mentioned are engaged in the series of kidnappings that I've been subject to while this entity has been keeping me under surveillance. It's 10:10 a.m. That's criminal summoning, P.O.C. Alrighty, that's again the same criminal system. The Ontario International Airport is being shut down. The Ontario Police Department, the City of Ontario engaging in criminal summoning. Uploading the evidence is the pattern of conduct. Not only are they stalking me as an entity, the same demon that you see up close engaging in conspicuous stalking, sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct, monitoring with the airport, monitoring pursuant to criminal summoning, monitoring with the police department, which is why they go to prison. This is the same criminal pattern of conduct while that entity committed kidnapping on September 28, 2025, and then claiming that you're being harassed when I don't even speak to you, and I'm documenting you, and you know that I'm documenting you, and you are stalking me in my face in doing so. This is why they go to prison. Everybody that engaged in kidnapping, including criminal summoning, Securitas, they're going to federal prison, okay? This is P.O.C. That was a psychopath that was sitting right next to me on a skateboard, stalking on behalf of the government. That's exactly the casual convenience that the terrorists in the United States are going to be prosecuted for, okay? This is impunity and corruption that has long existed. This is the same entity that's gang stalking while the population remains around. Remember, all the kidnappers that are inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, they're going to prison by this evidence that is showing the nexus between their malicious assertions, their criminal conduct, the stalking with the impossible light under a fake sun, and the entity that's targeting as a population. License 1459992. That's demon possession. Just so that you know, it's light activity in the path, facilitating this demon that's monitoring, representing an entity. Everybody inside of the OVITT Family Community Library is already monitoring, and you know that because the fake sun remains over that entrance. As I'm documenting from sunrise until sunset, even as I'm showing yesterday from 12:26 p.m. till after 6 p.m., aimed in perfect alignment with my location inside of that library, while the entity is stalking by helicopter. That's the same agency that committed kidnapping with the demons of the OVITT Family Community Library. They're going to prison. They're engaged in gang stalking, just like the people of the state are out here. This is what they're doing while they're employed at the venue. This is what they're doing while they're inside of the library, doing so in the form of what is being an employee, engaging in what is monitoring my vagina, doing so with the gang stalking patrons, and what is engineered light. Okay? The pattern of conduct is shared by the entirety of the city of Ontario, the airport, the fire department, the gang stalking demons calling themselves EMTs, and the police department stalking by helicopter in an environment where the sun is not even going to be present while it's over me in Pomona, California, while it's over me in Fontana, California, while it's over me in Upland and Montclair, California at the same time, while it's over me in Los Angeles, California, and all of the pattern of conduct. The entity engages in these are mentally ill people who are demon possessed as the Nephilim, and this is while they're engaging in conduct that was supposed to be a secret. It's not a secret anymore, and now you see their mental illness that they sought to conceal, including while they're stalking somebody and keeping their head down, looking to the left and right. P.O.C. It is currently 10:15 a.m. That's the Ontario International Airport and the Ontario Police Department. Okay, P.O.C. And the entity is doing so while I have published what the entity is exposing regarding what is flights. I want to be clear, Ronald Leverage's impunity is going to be relevant to him being prosecuted. He's committed a series of kidnappings, and he has no regard for the rights of an American citizen while he's making money, calling himself what is a deceptive title when he's nothing but a terrorist and a sex offender. He's not some airport authority on a board. He's engaging in terrorism, and that impunity is shared while the demons are stalking conspicuously using commercial flights, with the police department stalking with helicopters and stalking as a population, and then they concentrate that pattern of conduct inside of the library. And I want to be clear, when you're documenting the demons that are gang stalking you, this is no sort of harassment. This is exposing what needs to be known, mental illness. All right, this is a demon that's engaging in the criminal system, presence in the path, operation of communication devices, the entity keeping a fake sun over you, stalking with impossible light, stalking with light activity, as they are doing, maintaining light activity, targeting together, doing so using aerial surveillance, and using corrupt departments, the fire department, the police department, the Ontario International Airport, criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C. All right, Leonida, City of Ontario, maintaining light activity. These are demons. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:16 a.m. and the entity is monitoring while I'm uploading the screen recording that I just captured. The people of the state gang stalking at the OVITT Family Community Library, maintaining what is the pattern of conduct inside of that library. They're going to prison based on the ongoing body of evidence showing repeated kidnappings and criminal summoning by Sean Thrasher. He's going to prison, and so are the gang stalkers that are in sharing and kidnapping, as I documented at that venue. This is P.O.C. It is 10:17. What time is it? 10:16 a.m. 10:17 a.m. right now. P.O.C. All right, you can hear me capturing video, the entity flying over by helicopter as I'm uploading the evidence. That's the ongoing objective. That's why I'm capturing the entity stalking by plane after plane after plane as I document, and then you have a strong pause because I captured that damning video. The entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring by criminal summoning. The entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring by stalking by helicopter, and the entity gets a resurge of confidence by stalking again in another commercial plane. Those are the demons that are going to prison. You're going to prison for stalking an American citizen in planes and helicopters, and you're doing so by committing kidnapping. You're going to prison for all of that. This is relevant for how the ways in which the demon-possessed commit murder. They psychologically torture you and harass you while you are surrounded by demons that are maintaining that pattern of conduct against you in concert with that government in a highly malicious and psychopathic manner. This sex offender keeping his head down, he represents the entity, what they're all doing. He's keeping his head down, he's stalking in the path, totally not regarding the target while he is in every regard referring to me while he is stalking in my presence. License 8SRT245, that's an unlawful threat. And it's also a threat while a psychopath engages in stalking you in that manner. Okay, it is threatening when you are bearing a weapon and you're clearly stalking me and not trying to hide it. All right, you are also not trying to hide it when you are documented in a pattern of conduct and you're maliciously and continuously engaged in that. You're not trying to hide it at all. Conspicuous stalking in the specific environment is as overt and as threatening as what is stalking and bearing a weapon and telling me you're going to kill me and you're stalking. It's the same overt threat when the entity is stalking by the police that are engaged in a pattern of kidnapping with the people of the state, keeping their head down, not addressing you, not talking to you. They don't have to say anything under the fake sun. You don't have to say anything when the entity is stalking by helicopter. They're stalking. It's a pattern of conduct that's already established. And mental illness that is also proven by the pattern of conduct is a threat to American citizens. All right? Stalking with light license 9ADA073, and license another homosexual 9RZH647. All right, license 9NCP814, 64671T1. 8NJL509. And the entity is engaging in this conduct while I am uploading the evidence captured in the screen recording. So I just want to be clear, the entity is necessitating, still at this juncture, the city of Ontario is going to be basically a desert, okay? They're not going to have a police department and a fire department and what is this, stalker is crossing paths, that's acting as an entity. And I took images of it. This entity is not going to have it's not a police department in the first place. It's a terrorist. And it's not a fire department. Michael GERKEN's engaged in terrorism. Those demons are puppets sounding sirens the moment that I start uploading evidence, after I capture the airport stalking. And the entity is engaging in what is the ongoing maintenance of elements of monitoring, which is showing the priority that demons are placing, even in the face of exposure, even in the face of impending raids, okay? This is speaking to the ongoing psychopathic obsession of demons, not normal, healthy human beings. 7FQT248. Okay, the stalking with light activity, that's showing you their obsession with me. Those are demons, not normal, healthy human beings. Okay, in the face of a prosecution going to prison for kidnapping as a department, demons, 6RNK606, not normal, healthy human beings, not a police officer in a police vehicle. That's a demon. That's Satan that is squatting in the position of someone that Satan wants to be mistaken for as somebody having authority, and they don't. And any other aspect of the government that's cooperating with it, like a gang-stalking mayor, a gang-stalking courthouse, a gang-stalking hospital, a gang-stalking sheriff department, they're going to be prosecuted for that system of what is criminal surveillance, okay? This is P.O.C. You'll see the fake sun moving east to be over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library after it is over the Ontario Town Square. Okay, not only that, you're paying attention to the entity that has the fake sun shining. It's not sunlight, and the sun is not some hunkering down light source. But inside of this library, after 6 p.m., 6:02 p.m., engineered light is reaching toward me, stalking with light, just like the demons of the Ontario International Airport, stalking using planes. That's, again, Ronald Leverage. While you're looking at that entity doing so, the fake sun moves, and so does the positioning of the planes, where they are flying now over the 280 North Limit Apartments. This is exposing everybody. Mickey, Myra, Yesenia, Sean Thrasher, the demons that are gang stalking inside of the OVITT Family Community, they're going to prison for kidnapping. They're going to federal prison for kidnapping as the city of Ontario, as the state. Engage in surveillance, and then you're engaging in kidnapping with the department that's needing you to make malicious assertions while you're being documented as a terrorist. And you're going to be prosecuted as a terrorist. You're not committing a kidnapping and getting away with that. And that is proven through the entity stalking me by planes, stalking me by helicopter. And I've been documenting Sean Thrasher terrorizing me, stalking and monitoring my vagina in the bathroom, and also seeking to obstruct justice while he's being exposed as such while I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library. I've been documenting that for years. So the demons at the circulation desk are acting with the demons that are stalking my plane and helicopter. It is directly relevant, and so is the proven environment inside of the library, which is irreconcilable. They will be prosecuted by science, by employment at the OVITT Family Community Library. There is no sunlight that's going to target me inside of this building. That's because they are all engaging in that pattern of conduct, and you're literally walking in subject to mental illness of those that are delusional with regard to what is impending prison, okay? And they are fully exposed to, first of all, deportation, every aspect of the federal government prosecuting, and also what is federal prison for kidnapping, and remember the systematic engagement, meaning systematically engaging in gang stalking. You're talking about federal prison for that, in addition to federal prison for kidnapping in the first place. This is P.O.C. It's 10:22 a.m. The gang stalker that you see at the OVITT Family Community Library on surveillance cameras at 10:22, well, at 10 a.m., she's gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square a couple hours earlier, about an hour and a half earlier, where the fake sun's over me and the Ontario police are driving in a circle around the square. She's monitoring with the police then, and she's monitoring with the police now while they're flying over by helicopter. That in and of itself is the malicious pattern of conduct of the demons committing kidnapping as a department, keeping my vagina under surveillance with a library, a building full of demons who sit around in what is a circus-like environment, the demon-possessed that are engaging in monitoring, and this is what you need to know is happening in the country. Okay, these are the living dead. This is mental illness and it's sexual violence, and these are the creepy psychopaths that are keeping American citizens under surveillance in violation of your constitutional rights, because it's the government that's doing so with a population that shares that condition and criminal conduct. They share that criminal pattern of conduct. The demons that are pacing in and out of the administration door, those are demons stalking with light. Well, they're stalking with light, but they're stalking with audible activity and engineered light. The demons that are engaging what are stalking with the loud banging noises while I'm sitting downstairs and the booming noises happening inside of the building, those are demons stalking with amplified noise, stalking with noise and engineered light. They're doing so under a fake sun, doing so while I'm being stalked and subject to that pattern of conduct outside of the library, and it's ongoing inside of the library, and you're going to federal prison because they committed kidnapping. They committed kidnapping with the same government that's providing evidence against them and the malice that they exhibited when they committed kidnapping, for example, on June 16, 2022. There's no statute of limitations, and you are going to prison. It's P.O.C. It's 10:24 a.m. All right, the demons inside of the administration room closed the door as I end the recording right now. They're doing so punctuating what is their federal prison terms that are impending. Those are psychopaths. Okay, this is P.O.C. Opening and closing the door while they are monitoring evidence against them. That's the mentally ill that are engaging that P.O.C.
I'm taking a test.
Okay.
Yes,
What about it?
I can hear you. I'm trying to take a test.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, he's trying to take a test and engineer light under the fake sun while the entity's talking by helicopter. Let me allow you to focus. This is what they do in engineer light, trying to focus under the fake sun. Okay, Satan. That's P.O.C. Those are the psychopaths that are monitoring with the employees, even monitoring while making that disingenuous statement. And this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. That's the entity that's obsessed with my vagina, not focusing on anything in engineer light. They're focused on me. All right, it is currently 10:25 a.m. That is the entity that's engaged in monitoring the evidence against them, okay? The evidence of the June 16, 2022 kidnapping is already published on my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. And the entity that is monitoring me at the Ontario Town Square, the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library, is monitoring the entire time. All I did was cross the street and enter into the library building where the ceaseless pattern of conduct is underway. So that in and of itself as well, it doesn't change, or it's not like starting with Ovitt Family Community Library's criminal pattern. No, they're ceaselessly engaging in that pattern of conduct. They are monitoring, and I walked inside while a bunch of the terrorists are maintaining surveillance inside of the building. One of the methods of demons who are gang stalking is ongoing, incessant noise creation through slamming the doors of the administrative doors. Those are demons that are monitoring. Doing so at the venue of the Ovitt Family Community Library, the administrative door. That's when I'm sitting at the computer stations. That's a means of all they're doing is pacing. And they're doing so in engineered light. They have multiple, I showed you the light activity, and they're engaging that pattern of conduct together with the demons that are claiming to be, I'm reading, I'm taking a test, I can hear you, while the entity has a fake sun. And it's still here after 6 p.m., which I captured inside of the same library, where you're not focused on taking a test. That's an entity that's engaging in what is a method of monitoring, a method of activity creation. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:26 a.m. Alrighty, you have the same stalker at the Ovitt Family Community Library, stalking with the police by helicopter and the city by planes, going and engaging in surveillance in the bathroom of the men's restroom, engaging what is monitoring and doing so. The entity amplifies the sound of toilets while you're outside of the bathroom, and while you're inside of the bathroom, amplifying the sound of actually, you can't even, I'm just conceding whatever it is that they're maintaining noise. So the toilets flushing, water flowing through the walls, amplifying the sound of the dryer. Everything is louder in volume, just like I've shown with regard to the entity stalking by helicopter. You're miles away from my office, be it's amplified in volume inside of my office. That's how you're recognizing targeting. And first of all, you have engineer light, so you're monitoring regardless of your expo. Oh, it's naturally occurring noise, because when the toilets flush, you're going to hear that through the walls. It's monitoring, period. But I'm letting you know that it's not only monitoring under all circumstances because of the placement of impossible light activity, which the Ovitt Family Community Library is already fully prosecuted for targeting, literally targeting me with light inside of the building. That absurd light activity is putting them in prison for kidnapping, and they're also going to prison as sex offenders in the shoes of the government. You have stalkers that are maintaining surveillance in the bathroom, monitoring my devices while I stand outside. This is what's so pathetic about the dead, but that's what they're doing, and they're also doing so while they go inside and keep me under surveillance, stalking in the library, in the bathroom of the library. And so I want to document this stalker on this skater.
on the skateboard, engage in surveillance in the restroom, which is, again, criminal conduct by OVIT, that's sharing in that surveillance. In the same way that the entity relies on, for example, the people of the state to summon them to be present. Oh, we have an emergency. We need you to come, and we have a robber or something. That's criminal summoning. The entity is acting in concert. The same thing with the people of the state. They are relying on the demons to maintain presence. Just like when I'm on the bus and the fake sun is moving from city to city, the entity is relying on the demons to get on and off the bus to maintain surveillance. They're acting cooperatively together, and that the demonic features, amplification, impossible light activity, the light source being the fake sun, and the government acting directly with regard to the maintenance of planes, helicopters, fire, police, and ambulance are sharing in that P.O.C. All right. It is 10:37 a.m. Capturing criminal presence by that entity stalking outside of the library, and ongoing stalking is inside of the library. And these are all state actors. They're not private parties. P.O.C. Alrighty, what you will see in the images is capturing what is demonic pacing is what the entity is doing. It's giving you context regarding everything that's happening inside of a facilitating venue and also outside, which is a facilitating venue, and it's nothing other than pacing. When you're under a fake sun, you're understanding that they're demons and they're not doing anything other than going back and forth and back and forth. That's all they're doing. So it's placing everything in its proper context. When you see the impossible light shooting like a laser, like reaching out toward me, like a hand, but it's just light, they're all stalking me. And it's very, very disturbing conduct. These are demons, though, and this is what you need to understand. The disturbing conduct to a normal person is that which the demon-possessed are practicing when they're engaged in what is this demonic system of targeting someone. They are stalking together with light, stalking license. 6GBX117, demon after demon pacing, a demon walking toward the city senior center with a communication device while these demons pace, 19046B4, and the demons sitting at the circulation desk are engaging in that pattern of conduct with them. They're monitoring together, okay? This is what they're doing when they're engaged in that pattern of conduct, as I've shown you that specific environment. So it is currently 10:42 a.m., and the entity is monitoring as I'm uploading. They're pacing in and out of the bathroom. They're pacing in and out of the entrance doors. They're pacing on and off of the elevator. They're pacing up and down the stairs. They're pacing through the building itself, and they're doing so while they are pacing all around me. They're doing so while a fake sun remains all day long. And while engineer light, like I showed you at 6:02 p.m. at the same OVIT Family Community Library, I captured it at 10 this morning. I captured it at 12:26 in the afternoon. There's no iteration where that light activity is going to happen at any time, let alone with regard to that duration of time where I'm proving the same address, the same light source, which is, again, not appropriately referred to as the sun, and that's why it is referred to as the documentation of the fake sun, where stalkers are engaging in surveillance, stalking while they're looking to the left and the right. Those are the dead. Those are the Nephilim. And their mental illness is put at the forefront regarding the necessity of removing an airport of co-conspirators of murder terrorists, removing a police department of co-conspirators of murder terrorists, the Ontario Police, removing a department of co-conspirators and murderers, calling itself a fire department. They are stalking under this fake sun from morning until evening, and there's a term of years of documenting that. Michael GERKEN's a domestic terrorist, 4SUJ224, and he is the Nephilim. He's a demon. 6DAP819, and so are these demons that are pacing. Pacing inside of the venue, pacing above the venue, pacing on the outside as I'm at the entrance. Doing so while I'm showing you the fake sun from, let's just use business hours, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. when they're closing earlier and I come back outside. The fake sun is still here. It's not going, these are demons and they're pacing all around. 8JPY620, and they pace inside of the venue with regard to surveillance. They do that in places like bathrooms. This is that sick population, and that population includes demons that need to be identified appropriately as terrorists, as threat to the public. They're a threat to themselves as well. They're very suicidal, the demon-possessed. That includes Tracy Banks. That includes terrorists like Jason Isaac Fields. These are demons that are engaged in spiritually attacking altogether, and they're not able to accomplish that. They're doing so while they're stalking me in helicopters, spiritually attacking, and they're not able to accomplish it. They're doing that while they're stalking me by planes. They're spiritually attacking. They're not able to accomplish it. So I am capturing a body of evidence where their witchcraft is failing. You are learning about the reality of the spiritual realm, the demon-possessed, and the practice of witchcraft, which is speaking to the reality of Christ Jesus and your necessity for him as your Lord and Savior. Moreover, and prominently, that's the key message, but you're witnessing the prosecution of the wicked.
the exposure. And you're also looking at the impunity of the wicked. Even when they are killing themselves, they will continuously, because they're already dead, even when they're killing themselves, aiding in their own detriment, to their own harm, to their own demise, still engaging in that which is their service to Satan. And they're not fooling anybody. They're also not accomplishing it. They've sacrificed themselves, and you're looking at the demons just like they did at Chevron. They began marching, as I document, Balbeer. Balbeer is getting deported. So all your demonic co-defendants coming in and filling up all the gas stalls, you're going to prison, you're getting deported, you're being prosecuted. This is an entity that engages in that. The demons go and fill up the library. You're going to prison for kidnapping. You're going to be prosecuted as a corrupt. And I want to be clear, where the library is engaged in surveillance, that is letting you know that surveillance is underway everywhere. It's not a library. It's a venue where criminal surveillance by the government is underway, and it's fully exposed. Fully exposed, I mean the jurisdiction of the federal government to come in and raid it. Okay, and because they're engaging in criminal activity in every regard, you're talking about raiding what is an everyday day of work for the demons that are gang stalking, and the federal government having full jurisdiction under the law based on the exposure of criminal surveillance to raid a terrorist that is the OVITT Family Community Library, acting in furtherance of murder. It's very much an emergency, very much necessitating raids, very much so. Okay, the entities that's engaged, it's the same thing with the airport, it's the same thing with the police department, with the fire department, it's the same thing with regard to where these demons live. They are fully exposed to what are raids any and everywhere, because the criminal surveillance is happening any and everywhere, and deportation of any and everyone that's not a natural born citizen. I don't care if you're sitting on a board, on an airport board, I don't care if you're the chief of a police department, I don't care if you're an employee with the fire department, I don't care if you are working for the sheriff's department and you are the county sheriff. Be prepared for deportation, because this is exposing what is a statewide P.O.C. and the federal law with regard to targeting domestic terrorists is using every aspect of federal law and policy in order to basically bring about what is prosecution, but also resolutions. You can deport them out of the country. You are going to be deported. It's federal law. I'm not making that up. Terrorists are deported. You're domestic terrorists and you're being deported. And if you're hiding behind some sort of position as a fire chief in Arcadia, California, be prepared to get deported. Okay, wearing a badge is speaking to what is the necessity. You are more importantly put at the forefront, the front of the list of being deported. Okay, you're not less of a threat because you're you're in some position. You're more of a threat, and the demons working at 7-Eleven and Chevron are going to be deported right along with you. Okay, the entities engaging in this P.O.C. It's 10:48 a.m. That's activity creation under the fake sun that's over the entrance. And these demons are pacing around inside of the venue. Remember the entity that's engaging in kidnapping with this agency, the Ontario Police that's stalking by helicopter this morning? They're doing so with the demons at the circulation desk, the demons that are in the administrative doors pacing back and forth monitoring, and then engaging in criminal summoning to kidnap me because you're mad you're being documented, license 9HZR916, claiming that I'm harassing you because I'm documenting you. And how do you even know what I'm doing on my phone in the first place? Why are you so concerned about what I'm doing with my phone? Because I'm not concerned about you. I'm not making any accusations towards you, but I'm documenting you pursuant to your system. So you can be in custody of your phone and monitor me, but I can't know what you're doing and document you in the same manner. Those are the demons admittedly targeting, and you're going to prison for kidnapping. Okay? This is P.O.C. The entities engaged in that conduct with a level of impunity that is necessitating what is making a clear statement in this country regarding terrorism amongst the population. Okay? That population that's engaging in that pattern of conduct is doing so with regard to knowledge of being captured as targeting an American citizen. That's not going to be sacrificed. In fact, it's forcing what is a massive return to sender, and that return to sender is also going to manifest in what is a prosecution. So I'm going to document license plates, the surveillance by the entity that's engaged in gang stalking, claiming that you're focusing on a test on the computer. No, you're not, under the fake sun, while the entities. No, you're not. And that's, again, the entity that's engaged in that criminal conduct, that's relevant to malice. It's audible noise and engineered light. You're going to look at that impossible light activity and then play back the tape of a demon that's monitoring. 7LNZ948, 6LUN333, 7KGC793, 6CPD425, 9NEY946. OPARC is gang stalking vehicle 141, license 8SRL292, license SN448, that's a handicap plate, EH18C83, that's paper, 8PHJ183, 9UXW190. And as you saw this morning, the excuse me, I was going to say Fontana. The city of Fontana is gang stalking. All I do is go from city to city and document it. The state of California is monitoring me. I can prove it by going to any city, and that pattern of conduct is underway. This is the prosecution of the U.S. government acting through the state of California targeting. License 9DDA439. What I was going to say, Sarah's Regis Group is being prosecuted gang stalking while the city of Ontario repeatedly flying over that apartment building, and that fake sun is remaining in alignment to me. The people of the state gang stalking in the parking garage of that same apartment building. That is speaking to not only is the entity not just targeting and the people of the state are ignorant, meaning they're not the people of the state, they're individual private citizens minding their business, not targeting, not stalking, not demons, not stalking with light. That's directly rebutted by the evidence of targeting with light. The engineered environment inside of this parking garage, the video that I captured at around the same time, by the way, 10:17 a.m. I'm inside of this parking garage and engineer light covers the ceiling inside of this parking garage. Sarah's Regis Group is gang stalking, and I'm going to prosecute for that. That's also terrorism, as I am subject to that environment, and all the demons that are living here, parking their cars in here, are stalking with light, and that's what I'm capturing. The government is gang stalking in concert with the people of the state, and that is where the government is gang stalking, the government is prosecuting, convicting, incriminating the people of the state, meaning you're stalking, and guess what that means as a matter of law, that the people of the state are stalking too, and that's also how you're going to be able to prosecute. I've already connected all the dots, I've already shown you the pattern of conduct, and I'm also showing you when you have one part of it, you automatically have the other parts. Okay, license 7MAP786 12519H2 87335J3 20184B4 8BTJ572 7TLM656. I literally have the fake sun in alignment to me. When I'm at the opposite end by the 60 freeway at Economy End on the sidewalk, the fake sun, I believe it was approximately 7:38 a.m. I'm standing inside of this parking garage of Sarah's Regis, a facilitating venue, a third party, not a private company, and not protected from a prosecution. If you think that I will not drag your property management company, you think that I can't prosecute you, you think you have a lawyer that's going to give you a defense, you're delusional. Okay? You're as delusional as these demons stalking me day and night in planes and helicopters, like you're not going to prison, like you're not going to be shut down. You're delusional, and you're going to get a wake-up call that everybody else is going to witness. And I want to be clear, the federal law, I can incriminate by prosecuting as an entity and reach into that corrupt company and have you deported. I can have you prosecuted civilly and criminally with regard to the federal RICO case. There's all manner of ways in which to prosecute you when you're engaging in the state's P.O.C. 9JTK922, you are fully exposed to all of that and more because I'm subject to terrorism at what is Sarah's Regis Group, the downtown luxury Ontario apartments, where I'm documenting terrorism by the Ontario Police Department. I'm documenting the entity stalking me by light, surrounding me with a terrorizing environment inside of this parking garage where the people of the state are not ignorant. They're acting in concert while the demons fly over the apartment building with plane after plane after plane. The fake sun rising and setting, being over me at this same address in the morning as it is in the afternoon, where I'm being molested by the demon possessed that are residing here and working here. That's the pattern of conduct. License, and they're monitoring my vagina while I'm at essentially the same location. The OVITT Family Community Library, they're sharing the street that's on the opposite side of the same street. The demons that are at the library, they come and park in this garage as well. The demons that are sharing this plaza, the OVITT Family Community Library employees park over here. The demons of the Laverne College of Law, demons that are unfit to be in the legal practice, and I will be addressing you in prosecution. I'll be getting to that. 9NSF658, 9RBD744. There are far-reaching repercussions and penalties for what it is the government is doing on a day-to-day, only thinking about, oh, we're going to harass you, and no. It's going to be a far-reaching prosecution, far-reaching. 6BNU400. And when I say it's going to be a desert, there will be no police department, there will be no fire department, there will be no airport, there will be nobody taking any California bar to be an attorney. Oh no, not from Ontario. No, you're not. It's not going to happen. And if you're already a practicing attorney, you're engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. And you're doing so as a state actor while you are practicing law and you're engaging in surveillance. You're going to find out how you will not be in custody of that law license anymore. Okay? This is the entity, and you can ask, because there are those that are already going to be subject to that, and you'll find out how I will reach you, I will touch you with this federal prosecution for terrorism. Okay? No domestic terrorists are fit to be practicing law. And not only are you going to be prosecuted for that, you will be barred from it. You're not taking you're not taking some California bar. You're not sitting for no bar, and you're not going to remain on the bar. 8RWJ466. And that's when you think that you're accomplishing something by having your co-defendants line up at your business. Okay, well, you can make your money now. I'm going to take that back in a prosecution, and you're being deported. if you're not even a natural born citizen? So I don't know what your statement is. You're talking about the same with regard to the removal of the departments that are engaging in terrorism. And remember, this is terrorism that the entity is committing for not some, well, not that it's better if it's for some religion or something, like they're doing it to commit murder. Like they want to murder somebody, and the government does it corruptly through the public corruption, making it appear as though it's everyday, normal life, nothing is happening, and it's all in the mind of the target individual, and their own demise is also that target individual's fault. And these are violent sex offenders and psychopaths who are engaging in targeting and psychological torture. Okay, that's not only emotional murder, if you will, psychological murder, also a physical murder is what the entity is acting toward. And stating things like, excuse me, I'm trying to focus on, that's audible activity of a psychopath monitoring my vagina, in fact, and is a means of monitoring me. While you're a psychopath pacing repeatedly, I'm going to juxtapose the specific environment with such statements to have you committed. CSS 9351 Arizona. Because the specific environment is speaking to a mental illness, it's speaking to a criminal pattern of conduct, and it's exhibiting an unheard of level of malice shared by a population. And such statements are going to be used to put people in mental asylums. It's currently 10:56 a.m. This is P.O.C.
Alrighty, Tracy is here at the library. Again, this is P.O.C. Why did you cook for me? Oh, cooked for you. You thought of me?
Which means it's hot. Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm very full.
It's good for later.
No, it's okay. You don't have to go everywhere.
I didn't.
This kind of
But I
thing.
have lunch for you.
You go to the library with it?
I don't have to. I have a library card. So I can go. Come on, I'm gonna bring the food to you. Okay? You can donate it if you want, that's up to you.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. Alrighty, I do have to document every encounter, so this is pursuant to stalking and an ongoing unlawful threat to my life, so that's why I'm documenting it. That is Tracy Banks arriving at the OVITT Family Community Library, where all of the state knows where I'm located, including her. The specific environment is proving the malicious psychopath that would claim you don't know where I'm at when you're engaging in that targeting system. So this is the P.O.C. and I'm just documenting it's 1:51 p.m. I'm arriving at the library. Arriving at the library, offering food. So I'm just documenting the details. Of course, I'm not going to consume that food, but this is offering food. This is somebody that, this is just the unfortunate truth. You kicked me out. You called the gang stalking police, lied about me physically attacking you and that I am on medication and I'm mentally ill, and then you decide that you want to come and cook me food and bring me food at the library when I've been sleeping outside ever since that date. That was May 29, 2025. Now, while I'm not bitter, I am prosecuting and maintaining an ongoing investigation pursuant to a pattern of conduct that she herself is participating and engaging in while she's in the library. I just want to make sure that it is clear those two positions are incongruent. Okay, that doesn't make sense. That happened, and I did that to you while at the same time you're taking it upon yourself to deliver some food to me. Okay, so I would state if someone is gang stalking, you do not eat their food. All right, it's 1:52 p.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is documentation regarding severe mental illness. Talia is an employee at the OVITT Family Community Library. Long, dark black hair, very angry. This is relevant to what are angry demons that she has inside of her. Stalking with audible noise on a systematic basis, doing so while she's crossing path, and then banging occurring on the wall. This is a psychopath that's engaging in gang stalking, and I want to specifically and publicly identify a severely mentally ill sex offender that is hostile, and this is again inexplicable hostility that is discerned from her criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct. It's a demon, but also which is that which is inscrutable because I don't know her, haven't addressed her, but she's very much angry and hostile based on the environment that she is creating around me while she's stalking me. And she's also hostile because she knows that she's being documented. It's relevant to the commitment that is going to occur regarding those that are going to be both subject to mental examinations and a criminal prosecution. Again, that is Talia that's engaging in gang stalking with ongoing audible noise while I'm walking around, and this is a demon that is stalking me inside of the library where she works. This is relevant to her mental examinations, relevant to the unlawful threat that she poses. She's doing so on behalf of the state at the OVITT Family Community Library. Again, mental illness by severe mental illness, as I am targeted by her depraved and demented behavior, doing so while she is engaged in federal stalking and doing so with impunity. I just want to be clear, this mentally depraved person is subject to federal prison because she's systematically monitoring as well. It is currently 8:48 p.m. This is P.O.C. She's also monitoring my vagina.
All right, maintaining ongoing patrolling as I'm documenting the demons of the OVITT Family Community Library, targeting ceaselessly all day long, and ongoing surveillance remains right here where I am, where the people of the state that are stalking in the library with that venue, the City of Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, are maintaining surveillance and doing so under the fake moon, the same shoot where the fake sun remained over me all day long, and this is P.O.C. All right? The entities engage in stalking with light, just like inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. And as I document those terrorists inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, I'm subject to terrorism by the Ontario Police Department by helicopter, and the terrorists of the Ontario Board and Executive Team, where the gang stalking airlines are using commercial plane stalking with the people of the state, the demons engaging in surveillance with the government. Those demons at the OVITT, you'll see them captioned in images. They're monitoring my vagina on behalf of the government that's stalking me, just like they were this morning, following from here to Euclid Avenue, where the entity had the fake sun rising on the same street. Look at the documentation. They're going to prison for kidnapping. All right, this is P.O.C. These are the unintelligent demons engaged in monitoring my vagina, engaged in sexual assault and battery. All right, that's P.O.C. And I'll show you again, this is the entity where they're engaging in sexual assault and battery as an entity. And they engage in ongoing corporate invasion of privacy, keeping me under surveillance obsessively under fake moons and fake suns. The mentally ill are going to be both committed and convicted. And I want to be clear again, Ronald Loveridge is amongst those in need of mental examinations. He's going to be removed from his position as a terrorist and a violent sex offender acting toward me in furtherance of murder. In concert with his co-defendants, Alan D. WAPNER, the demons who are stalking with impossible light on the opposite side of the street, psychopaths who are demon-possessed, including Kurt Hagman, Ronald Loveridge, and Julia Gu, Jim Bowman. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:36 p.m. You're seeing the consistency of that pattern of conduct, flying more and more north where I'm at, and doing so while I'm at the Ontario Town Square down there, where the entity keeps a fake sun and a fake moon over me, where a whole population of demons are stalking. Okay? This is the entity that's going to be prosecuted. And this impunity, that's going toward damages, that's going toward ending, that's going toward federal prison for the kidnappers, that's going toward what is a sex offense committed by government. Those are the demons doing the exact same thing at the OVITT. They're going to regret it in federal court. This is P.O.C. This is what you're going to recall. You're going to play this tape, this evidence, when defendants are standing in court for kidnapping with the Ontario Police Department and the Ontario International Airport, engaging in criminal summoning when they're gang stalking with the entity. This is the evidence you're going to play in court because they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:37 p.m.
All right, sexual assault and battery. Regarding the video that you just listened to, this is an entity acting as one, but I also want to document the sex offenders engaged in sexual assault and battery in concert with the entity that's stalking by helicopters, stalking by planes, doing so as an entity stalking from place to place, monitoring my vagina while they're stalking with light outside of the entrance. Understand, the entity is doing the same thing while the fake sun remains over the entrance. So at 8:55 p.m., you're looking at a sex offender outside of the entry doors, aiming light, stalking, and doing so. Remember, that's not sunlight under the fake sun, and it's not headlights with the vehicle outside. That's engineer light, and they're monitoring my genitalia with the mentally ill sex offender Talia. Okay, license plate
7HWX195, gang stalking at 434 North Euclid Avenue, ARCO, where I'm documenting this same airport targeting me at that ARCO when I walk north up the street, and that's where the entity is then stalking with planes like I documented on video this morning for the removal of the Ontario Board and the Ontario Executive Team to be prosecuted as terrorists in the United States. License plate 8NOB686, engaging in the perpetual sex offense molestation of my person as they are stalking with the government that's stalking me from the library to my location now. License 9HVA206, engaging in the perpetual sex offense, engaging in terrorism. They're all acting in furtherance of murder and kidnapping, while that government, in the video that you just listened to, is engaging in targeting me where I'm located. The Ontario Police Department stalking on my left side, which is north of me, and the Ontario International Airport gang stalking me on my right side, which is south of me, where they're always remaining south of my person. They are in position under the fake moon that's over me on the same street that I'm capturing, which is also on in images this morning on Euclid Avenue. That's where the fake sun is over me. The entity is going to be prosecuted in the same way that you're hearing, and this is an entity of mentally ill people. They engage in more psychopathic behavior that's to their own demise. Like, you're going to be disbanded, you're going to prison for kidnapping Alex Escobar, okay? So while your co-defendant is stalking me in a helicopter, you're going to be standing before a judge, and we're going to not only go over the criminal act, the malicious criminal act of kidnapping, while you are wearing a police uniform, feigning to have a jurisdiction pursuant to what is actually criminal summoning, in what is an environment where you're monitoring me with the people of the state. And that's a whole malicious iteration to target me. Alex Escobar is going to federal prison also for gang stalking as a term of years. I have this demon under the fake sun at 8 o'clock in the morning at the B&G Plaza engaging criminal summoning again. He's going to federal prison while his defendants, his co-defendants, are stalking me in helicopter day and night, while his co-defendants are stalking me in airplanes under fake moons and fake suns, while his co-defendants are molesting me with that which is not naturally occurring light. Speaking to his targeting me when he put handcuffs on me, when he put his hands on me, when he criminally defamed me on video as well. This is relevant to how many years Alex Escobar is going to federal prison. And when his co-defendants engage in what is kidnapping at the OVITT Family Community Library, this is the evidence you're going to play in court. The ongoing terrorism, the ongoing humiliation inherent to millions of people targeting you, engaging in what is targeting with a corrupt law enforcement agency that is literally on its face in front of the whole world. They already know that the Ontario police are engaging in what are stalking me and not law enforcement. They're literally waiting to hear about and witness and me exposed and them seeing on the news the Ontario Police Department being raided. But they are still gang stalking until that moment of humiliation, and the demons that are engaging in kidnapping with that agency. For example, I don't know, Sean Thrasher, he's going to federal prison. He's going to federal prison for gang stalking me with this agency that is inside of that library and outside of that library, targeting me day and night. And this is why you don't engage in criminal conduct under any circumstances, but certainly not with demon-possessed psychopaths who don't have self-control. They're easily triggered, and then when you are sitting at home with your gay lover or your puppy dog or whoever it is that you lay down with that night, likely a demon just like you, I'm prosecuting you. Because there is no statute of limitations when you engaged in making malicious assertions about my character while this same pattern of conduct is underway. And I stated then that you were lying, and I was documenting this same pattern of conduct, and it is already proven that you were lying, and this same pattern of conduct is consistently documented and ceaselessly underway. And you were engaging in it when I was subject to targeting, and while you lay in bed, in whatever city that is, understand that you're going to prison. Your co-defendants are outside racking up more federal time for you. This is the harms behind stalking with demons. Demons that don't know when to sit down. They don't know when to shut up, and they don't know when to stop. That's because they are demon-possessed, and understand how this is judgment for them, because they're already a dead people, and so they are continuously engaging in deeds to their own demise. Ronald Leverage, Julia Gu, Kurt Hagman, Jim Bowman, Alan D. Wapner, the Ontario Executive Board, they're being prosecuted while the people of the state are gang stalking me, while the entity is using commercial airline planes. And the entity is concerned with targeting me. Your witchcraft doesn't work on me. I'm documenting you. I have a full, solid body of evidence, and you are still concerned and distracted and not understanding. You're not harming me. I'm prosecuting you. And that whole quote-unquote board is going to be prosecuted. This is terrorism. They're terrorists, and this is how terrorism is underway in the United States. They use airports, police departments, sheriff's departments, fire departments. They use the government to engage in targeting American citizens, and they use a population. And so while the entities engage in that, I'm coming for that Ontario International Airport Board and that so-called executive team, and I already have a case prepared that no attorney is going to be able to defend you against. I'm going to let you know that right now. My case is already complete. I completed it on the internet. I prosecuted you already on the internet. There's no controversy in the court. And this is why you don't engage in criminal conduct with the Nephilim, because you're dealing with demonic spirits, and they don't even care about the vessels that they're using. These vessels are going to prison. It's currently 9:43 p.m. Those are sex offenders, including EH24X26, a paper plate on a Honda, gang stalking, sharing in that sex offense as an entity, obsessively following me around. And Talia is monitoring my vagina on behalf of the Ontario Police Department. Talia is monitoring my vagina in concert with the Ontario International Airport. Talia is an exceedingly angry demon who's engaging what is threatening me inside of that venue while I'm being gang stalked by her and the entity itself. And she's going to federal prison for gang stalking in the same manner that I'm proving as soon as I step foot outside. That's the pattern of conduct, okay? This is P.O.C. So let me show you the entity that puts itself in prison. The entity that's flying over the top of my head. This is P.O.C. Like I stated, this is the entity that lacks self-control. This is the entity that's doing so under the fake moon and is doing so while they are monitoring the evidence against it. And Alex Escobar, like I stated, that's how the legal analysis goes. He's going to prison. He's going to prison, but so are his co-defendants. The demons at the Starbucks right here down the street. The entities engaging in kidnapping with the demons at Starbucks, who engage in summoning the police because they want me to make a purchase at Starbucks where I make a purchase every day. Oh, no. They called the police because I was documenting on my device that they were keeping under surveillance while the entity kept the fake sun rising and setting at that Starbucks, while I was being molested with impossible light like I am now, while the entities engaging what is stalking me by helicopter at that Starbucks. That's why they called the police for me to merely make a purchase at that Starbucks. Ocean's going to prison because she's targeting me and kidnapping me with that agency that just flew over my head. And I'm going to play this and much, much more evidence. And she's going to prison, and so is every other kidnapper. That's why you don't engage in gang stalking with demons, because they're putting this is the implosion of gang stalking. This is P.O.C. And the entities engaging in the same criminal system with the gang stalkers at Economy Inn kidnapping, the gang stalkers at Woodside Senior Apartments kidnapping, the gang stalkers at OVITT Family Community Library kidnapping, the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct with the people of the state in general while they're sharing that P.O.C. I want to make sure that that's clear. The entities engaging in this kidnapping at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts as well, engaging in that P.O.C. With the entity that is stalking with light, stalking in the path. They're inside of their truck, stalking with a method of light and engineered light, engaging in surveillance with the population, the entity that just flew over my head by helicopter. That's the P.O.C. It is currently 9:46 p.m. This is exactly what goes on the internet, and that's the Ontario Police. I want to be clear, the immigrants in Ontario, the immigrants in California are going to be deported. They share the same impunity that the terrorists of the Ontario Police. They have no regard for the fact that they're being exposed as criminals. They have no regard for federal law. They have no regard for not incentivizing criminal and psychopathic and sexually violent conduct. They have no regard for law and order. But yet they're using the resources of a police department. They're wearing those badges. Psychopaths and hypocrites like Alex Escobar are going exactly where they belong. They're going in cages. They're going in cages, and this is how you're going to target domestic terrorists that are enemies to this country, and so are the demon-possessed gang stalkers. The Nephilim are exposed, and these are the enemies in this country. And they're going to be targeted. They're going to be deported. They're going to be put in cages. They're going to be appropriately labeled with criminal records and mental illness so that everybody knows who they are and what they've already done. It is currently, by the way, 9:47 p.m. This is the entity that's exposing itself, that's literally doing the handiwork for me. This is P.O.C. All right, capturing that documentation, the entity flew right over the top of my head, okay? That's the entity that is targeting, not only targeting by that conduct, but targeting in the specific environment. You're not going to have the sun and the moon over the same person at the same address in the same city. And the sun is not going to remain at one address for the duration of the day either. This is the entity that is not only criminal, targeting the Ontario Police, that's a demon using an Ontario Police helicopter. And that's a demon that does not have self-control. You need to understand that same lack of self-control, that's what murders people and calls it what is something that has to be investigated with regard to what that officer did and what happened and what did that victim do with regard to why that officer had to pull their weapon. And no, these are psychopaths that don't have self-control, and they murder people with that same lack of self-control. And then the gang stalking courts, which I've already shown you, they uphold and enable that violence. The demons that can't control themselves because they're triggered by the truth that I speak, flying over my head and flying in circles over me for 20 minutes, which you're going to regret in federal court when people are going to be sentenced to prison. That's the entity that lacks self-control and murders people on the roads, on the streets, calling themselves police officers, and they're not. They're terrorists. They have no business in law enforcement. They are unfit by virtue of me capturing them, stalking me in helicopters. This is the P.O.C. All right, and this is directly incriminating demons like Sean Thrasher, who are going to prison. You're going to prison. All right, this is the entity stalking, coming back around. You're not doing nothing. You're not doing anything other than stalking in impossible light, because that's not headlights coming from those vehicles over there. This is the entity that's stalking and listening to every word that I'm stating. They're engaging in targeting, meaning I'm the focus. Oh, where did the fake moon go? Oh, wow, that's magic. Look at the previous video that I just captured. These are indeed demons. Where did that fake moon go? Because it's not the moon. Where did it go? Is it covered up by? But this is why you document. They're targeting me, and I've already shown that. And so are you. They're not just casually coming from their house. This is stalking to take this direct path with the entity that's stalking in a helicopter. Okay? AESU 554, stalking with the police, a homosexual female, by the way. P.O.C. It is currently 9:49 p.m. That's what the entity, that's the chicanery during the day, covering up the fake sun, covering up the fake moon. It's not even real. It's not even the real environment. This is the demons that are monitoring. Flying over the top of my head again, that's a demon, okay? And this is failed witchcraft. They're going to prison. The entity's going to produce the identity of the terrorist stalking in a helicopter. They're going to prison. Mike LORENZ and that entire agency is being disbanded. They're done with law enforcement. And this is understanding how you're going to strip down terrorism in a city like Ontario that's not going to have a police department or a fire department or an airport. Okay? And this is the entity that's wasting criminal resources on surveillance that Paul Leon has no business maintaining. He's being removed from office. Okay? This is the entity that's engaging in conduct with a population that's going to have a criminal record. Okay? This is the entity that's going to be deported. Gang stalking immigrants, stalking with the police department, driving with your turn signal, that's light activity. What's the significance of that? Because they're monitoring. That's the significance of flashing a light. They're monitoring with the police that are flying back and forth over my head. That's demonic pacing. And they're doing that while they're triggered. Understand? I'm letting you know about the emotional instability of the psychopaths that shoot people and murder them because they're triggered and angry, or because they're guilty of something that they don't want to be caught for. And that's gang stalking me, but all that did was blow up the P.O.C. That blew it up. That exposed everything and everyone. I want to be clear, this is the entity that's going to be disbanded. The city of Ontario is being stripped down. It's being stripped down. And the entity is going to be fully prosecuted for what is clear targeting like this. And they're putting all of their co-defendants away. That includes the people of the state. P.O.C. It is currently 9:50 p.m. Sorry, I just want to I'm capturing on video again the entity stalking. This is exactly what I'm putting on the internet because you're going to recall the evidence of the entity stating that I'm harassing somebody on September 28, 2025 when I'm documenting the entire morning. You're going to recall, so this is again, Vivanco. You're stalking me, you're monitoring me. I literally documented that demon molesting me with impossible light at 12 o'clock in the morning. This is a demon that is obsessed with me. That's a documented stalker. And then he comes and approaches me and engages in assault and battery while you're stalking as an agency, claiming lies that you know to be lies. And then I just want to be clear, while you're looking at the entity stalking me day and night, this is Vivanco who's going to prison. This is Joseph Valencia, who was engaging in battery with Vivanco and Durham, engaging in assault and battery and unlawful search and kidnapping while making assertions that they knew to be false. Not just false, but they knew to be false because they're monitoring and looking for an excuse to harass the person that they know is prosecuting them and embarrassing them. They are fearful of my legal analysis. They are scared to death of my evidence as I publish it on the internet. And psychopaths do not stop engaging in criminal conduct. They're demons. This is demonic. They engage in, as I'm showing you, they engage in more of the same. They will engage in committing murder in order to avoid consequences for what they've done. They will engage in committing rape. They will engage in trying to poison you in one way, or they will engage in harming you because in a demon-possessed mind, that's a mentally ill psychopath. They are, and Satan is telling them, well, that's how you're going to get out of this. You're going to do that. You're going to have to do that. We're going to go cast some more spells. We're going to do some more witchcraft. And I want to be clear, the entire Ontario Police Department are demon possessed. All of them. They're practicing witchcraft. They engage in sex rituals. They're pedophiles. They're engaged in sex trafficking. They're very familiar with my vagina, engaging in what is watching me on the dark web, monitoring me, stalking me, and engaging in what is the same criminal system of the pattern. It's not different. They just wear Ontario police uniforms, which I'm going to strip them of. Okay, that's relevant to the demon flying back and forth over my head at this particular location on this sidewalk at F Street in Euclid, where the fake moon is over me, where the entity is stalking with impossible light. And they were stalking this morning while I'm uploading evidence. After I'm documenting the entity stalking by plane over and over again, as I'm uploading evidence on the venue of the internet, pursuant to a long documented pattern of conduct. And this is relevant to what are the implications of those that commit murder, not engage in what is the need for more training of law enforcement to deal with the mentally ill, not with regard to what is a Black Lives Matter conundrum of a plight or black folks. These are murderers. You have demons that are engaging in surveillance. They're not trained to engage in actual law enforcement. So yes, that is an underlying training issue, but that is by design because it was never intended to be law enforcement. They're engaging in enforcing surveillance, and that is unlawful. They are being removed as a department, and they are going to serve as an example in the United States. While Chevron, ARCO, Starbucks, these are venues that are open right now. The Bucket, Crab, and Crawfish, and El Pescado, they're engaged in conduct right now, criminal activity with the entity. Demons are, in other words, filling those venues, engaging in what is stalking in the path. That's what that's about. That's why because the entire city is documented, and it's not limited to business hours. But the demons are inside of Starbucks gang stalking right now on camera, at Chevron, at ARCO, gang stalking. Inside of the Bucket Crabfish and inside of El Pescado, engaging what is criminal presence in the path while the entity's flying back and forth over my head. And these are cowards that try to drive as far away from me and as fast as they can because they're scared to death. Those are the demons that will engage in harming another person, not stopping it, while they know that the consequences are coming, but continuously engage in it. Why would you do this and you are waiting on a federal raid? Because the entity is very much aware there's no secrets here. And the entity is going to be raiding more than one place. And the entities engage in this conduct in the face of the federal government. And you don't look like you're just flying around. You look like a stalker. There's a body of evidence. They already know that everybody of the Ontario Police is mentally ill. That's already known. Everybody in the Ontario Police Department, I mean the demons that work behind desks inside of that building under the fake sun. They know that every single last one of them are demons and that every single last one of them are mentally ill and that they are specifically obsessed with stalking me because they are demons. That's already known. This is not traffic, it's surveillance. That's already known. That's not the sun and the moon, it's the crime scene. It's already known. Why would you do that when you are waiting regarding a federal raid, regarding federal prison? Because you're mentally ill. That's why. Why would you do that when people are scared that they're going to go to prison for kidnapping with you as an agency? Because you're mentally ill. That's why. License plate 8 WWN 820 9CTC 435 8RYR 301. They're stalking with the Ontario Police. Okay, this is P.O.C. and I'm going to put this on the internet. This is what the entity is doing as I document them. Psychopaths engage in it, and then they're scared to death for it to go on the internet. But again, a psychopath is delusional because I put all of the evidence on the internet. That's where the prosecution is occurring. That's where the exposure is occurring. So you also are witnessing mental illness while the entity engages in it, and then they're scared to death about me putting it online. And then this is then what is then inspiring more criminal conduct because all they have at their disposal is to engage in more of the terrorism. Hence, I get more documentation. Hence, I put more of it on the internet. And then you have an ongoing cycle of mentally ill psychopaths who are going to be mentally examined and criminally prosecuted. The Ontario Police, they are going to produce the names of every demon stalking in helicopter because they're going to prison. They are going to provide their records regarding their corrupt agency and how they operate because the entity is going to be subject to prison. This is how an ordinary case is prosecuted, by the way. Now you're going to be prosecuting a corrupt police department that's an exposed terrorist. Okay? The entity is engaging in this conduct and they're doing so in the specific environment with real-time knowledge. There's no coincidences in the specific environment. There's no coincidences with regard to the entity engaging in ongoing public nuisances as you want to acknowledge it on the surface. Every time I start documenting, that's getting to what is targeting and is not merely a public nuisance. It's pursuant to the pattern of conduct in the specific environment, especially when I am engaging in what is use of my devices and uploading that evidence on the internet. Okay? This is the entity that is engaged in flying in circles. This is the outward demonstration of mental illness. And this is what the entity is doing with commercial planes when they're engaging in that psychopathic conduct, one plane after another after another. This is the same outward demonstration of severe mental illness. This is the basis to disband the Ontario Police Department as well, in addition to what is stalking in the first place. And they're engaging in stalking. Each one is representing a communication device, crossing path, light activity, relevant positioning, monitoring with the government. And this is what they're doing when they're flying right here, stalking with commercial planes. Entities engaging in this conduct while they are stalking with all manner of impossible light activity. That's speaking to the mental illness by a demon that's flying in circles over and over and over again. This is going on the internet. Remember, the Ontario Police Department, they're already done. You are understanding the people of the state are going to prison. You're not going to target with an agency like this and avoid prison. They're going to prison for every venue that I documented that I was subject to a kidnapping. That's the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, the City of Ontario engaged in criminal summoning. That's the Economy Inn. That is the same gang stalkers that were monitoring with the same department where the entity kept the fake sun over my hotel room, flying commercial planes over my hotel room, kept the fake sun and the fake moon. The entity is engaging in what is kidnapping at the OVITT Family Community Library at Woodside Senior Apartments. They're going to prison. The Ontario Police Department is an afterthought. They're already being disbanded. They're going to be, they're subject to federal prison as well. Okay? C. Torres, L. Martinez, the entity that's gang stalking with, the Ontario Police kidnapping on May 29th. That is including Nathan Morgan and B. Hook. The entities engaging in kidnapping C. Hazelwood and Owens, L. Edwards and A. Quesada and Alex Escobar. The entity that's engaging in kidnapping on September 28th, including Vivanco, including what is Joseph Velasquez. And you have what is Durham. They're going to prison. And those are the ones as of 2025. Every kidnapper, including the demons that are gang stalking at the courts. When you're entertaining this criminal conduct, you're going to prison. All right? You're going to prison for what is targeting kidnapping. This is not law enforcement. And any judge entertaining the criminal acts of this department, you're going to federal prison. And they've already committed that. Those judges' names are also on the internet because you can look them up. They're going to prison. Federal prison. This is P.O.C. This is incriminating the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. The gang stalking police officers incriminate everybody. Everyone. Everybody sharing and kidnapping with that agency is going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9%. Those are the psychopaths that are mentally ill and delusional. And it is shared by the demons that are stalking with impossible light. The demon possessed. This is the Nephilim. And this is the implosion of gang stalking that was supposed to be so elite, so secretive, all right, so sly, so clever that nobody would be able to know, nobody would be able to prove, and the targeted individual is going to be looked at as somebody that's mentally ill, and that's the entity that's going to be prosecuted, both committed and convicted. This is P.O.C. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison, all right? And so is Jason Applefield and everybody else that defamed my character with this entity. Stealing my money and property, the Ontario Police Department is engaged in that as well. This is P.O.C. That's currently 10 p.m. These are acts of desperation that's stalking with light. Okay? That's what Graffiti Protective Coatings is doing in the morning. That's what the City of Ontario is doing in the morning while the fake sun is over me and impossible light's moving all across this wall. This is impossible light. Let me show you my shadow over here. That's impossible light activity. That's a demon stalking in the path. They're monitoring together with the Ontario Police Department at the Bethel Congregation Church. That's P.O.C. It is currently 10:01 p.m. Alrighty, I want to capture that. This is the entity that's engaging in very desperate and pathetic acts. The entity engages in what is the psychopathic pacing. They do so out of fear, okay? And it's very unfortunate, but this is relevant because not only am I serving and exposing what is a criminal case, exposing criminal conduct that's no longer a secret, it's relevant to what also needs to be known. It's a public safety concern regarding the unaddressed and closeted mental illness by those who are also demon possessed. So this is knowledge about all of that. And when you are looking at pacing in a helicopter, that's mental illness. That's at play right there. And the entity is doing this also with regard to what is an act of desperation and fear. And the lack of strategy there is that if you just engage in harassing more, well, she'll just stand there and she'll just keep documenting it, and then she won't put it on the internet because I'm standing there. And it all goes on the internet. That's very psychopathic as well. However, the rationale behind that is to inflict more harm to that person rather than stopping to engage in that. This is a documented pattern. This is relevant to the psychopathic disorder of the demon possessed. While they are, I just want to make sure that you understand that that's relevant to what is actually an act of desperation and out of fear, but that is a threat to people because it's a threat to American citizens while they seek to harm others out of their fear for criminal conduct, for acts of violence that they are committing. psychopaths, the demon-possessed, the Nephilim that are monitoring and targeting and supposed to be in a secret way, they engage in more violence. They engage in more harm to that person, to that American citizen with regard to it having a risk of it being exposed. That's relevant to obstruction of justice. That's relevant to legislation. That's relevant to prosecuting a government. And like I stated, while they do so, you're not forgetting about what Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court already did. You're not forgetting about what the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department already did, and they were not ignorant doing so. I've been documenting the pattern of conduct by the state of California for a term of years. They committed kidnapping, and they engaged in criminal defamation, and they thought that I would be dead by now and that no one was going to know about it. The entity is going to be subject to disbanding. The Ontario Police is not the only law enforcement agency that's going to be disbanded. Shannon Dykes, that's not a sheriff. Neither are the demons of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Those are terrorists. They engage in psychological torture, criminal defamation, kidnapping. They do so with the Ontario Police Department. They do so via the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court and every other county that San Bernardino County Sheriff's, and every other court that San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department works with. All right? And that's everyone in San Bernardino County. But while the entity is clearly targeting me, you're understanding what is a system. The court is not engaging in putting somebody in a facility where they don't know that the police are targeting. Yeah, they do. They know that the Ontario police are targeting, and they're targeting as well. All right, and it's the same with San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and I have the entity targeting me under a fake sun at the courthouse. I have the entity targeting me with the fake sun at the West Valley Detention Center, 8ZHT087, stalking. All right, the entity's engaging in this, and this is also giving you common senses. The entity that's stalking by helicopter, flying in circles over and over and over again, and the engineer light, the population is stalking. Every single last one of them are stalking. So I've already gone to that extent and proven that the entity that's engaging what is pure numerosity is relevant to what is not impossible. It's relevant to what is a national security threat. That's what that's, because it's absolutely possible. I've already shown you the pattern of conduct, and it's something that you need to be aware of. It's a national security threat. And not only is it based upon the fact that they are engaged in the fact that they're demons, but it's the fact that there are demons who are engaging in what is demonic activity that is harmful to other people. Demonic activity where they surmise that they can get away with murder, where they surmise that they can get away with stealing from you. And engage in things such as like murdering you just to steal your idea, to commit copyright infringement by gang stalking, by murdering somebody. And you'll never know. And one of these demons walks away as the creator of one thing or another. This is what the entity also sought to engage in. And they're all engaged in that. They all know who I am. They know about my money that was stolen. They're incentivized. They are invested in what is getting a portion of my money as well. They're going to be prosecuted. That's why they're out in the street stalking. That's why the Ontario police are flying in circles over me. That's why they're sitting in the library stalking all day long. License plate 8SV957, sexual assault and battery, stalking with the Ontario Police Department, maintaining surveillance with that police department. License plate, sex offense, license 4EYU287, the same sex offense committed over and over again. And this is the entity that was engaging in surveillance all day long. When I step outside of the library and you're looking and listening to this ongoing pattern of conduct, this is exactly what's going on inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. Okay, this is what Talia is engaging in when she's stalking me with noise. When she's walking by and inexplicable banging is happening through the walls all around. There's nobody over there, but ongoing banging happening through the walls, and she's walking upstairs next to me. A passive-aggressive psychopath who's hostile because of the evidence that I published on the internet about her and all her co-defendants that work at OVITT Family Community Library. All those demons that want to monitor my vagina and not be exposed for it, including Talia. Okay, this is the one that's clearly labeled mentally ill, and so are her co-defendants stalking in helicopter, pacing around me, following me around in helicopters, and pacing around me everywhere. Mentally ill. Because that's all they're doing inside of the OVITT Family Community Library and Engineer Light. They're just pacing around me. The demons that are going in and out of the administrative door, they're pacing around me. And the more that I document, the more frequency that door opens and closes. Just like the entity, the more that I document, the more that those demons pace around in a circle in helicopter, the more that they fly over the top of my head, the more that they pace back and forth the commercial planes. Mentally ill. Mentally ill. Okay, this is directly relevant to prosecuting the demons that committed kidnapping at the OVITT Family Community Library. And as you are listening, because the demons are listening in real time, and then you're also aware, they're also aware of what is published on the internet, and this is why they go in a frenzy like that. But you're listening in real time, so I'm going to speak in real time. You're going to prison. I just want to be clear. You, Sean Thrasher, you're going to federal prison. I'm documenting the entity terrorizing me. If you think that there's no nexus, if you think that you're separate, you are foolish. You are delusional, and you are going to federal prison. You're going to federal prison for kidnapping me as a part of the same corrupt entity with knowledge specifically of who I am, because Tracy Banks and Jason Fields and Eric Spencer and the rest of the entity that whose name I do know, who do have formally some position in my life, they were trying to establish me as a child abuser. And so it's so interesting that Sean Thrasher makes such specific and malicious assertions that are far from true. Under no circumstances it's true, and it's a known fact that it's not true. But the fact that he made such assertions, that entity, the OVITT Family Community Library, the gang stalker, that's monitoring my vagina, stalking me in the bathroom, a sex offender, in fact, is making those malicious assertions with an entity that specifically sought to frame me as a child abuser. Okay, it's coming out of the mouths of those that are actually child abusers like Tracy Banks. Okay, that's relevant though. Sean Thrasher is a co-defendant. Sean Thrasher is personally engaged in that pattern of conduct. Sean Thrasher represents the OVITT Family Community Library, who are targeting with the Ontario Police, who are providing ongoing evidence against that venue, targeting me on behalf of that agency. Inside of that, even engage in criminal summoning and harassment together while they enter inside of the venue and they congregate. They congregate around another third party, which is a psychopath's method of stalking you. They're going to prison. This is P.O.C. There's a body of evidence. The entity is going to prison for that which I am documenting outside of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is P.O.C. Sean Thrasher is going to federal prison for it. All right, the entities engaging in this, and this is how you're going to be targeting the mentally ill who need to be taken off the streets. They need to be taken off of what are police departments. They need to be taken off of what are sheriff's departments and fire departments. This is the entity. They need to be taken out of venues that call themselves deceptively things like a family community library, where they're engaging in sexual violence and terrorism and psychological torture and harassment and demonic conduct. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and this is an entity that is desperate and also very, very delusional. Very delusional. I'm going to go about putting all of this on the internet, but this is to let the entity know that's listening right now. While I'm outside, your case for putting you in prison for terrorism in the United States, I want to let you know that it's complete, and your co-defendant that you're targeting me with, while you're engaging in kidnapping with them, you're going to federal prison for it. Okay? And don't worry, because this demon that's stalking a helicopter, as all of them, they're going to federal prison, but I want you to know you are going to federal prison. Okay, you're a domestic terrorist. Domestic terrorists are going to federal prison. They're going to be targeted in the ways in which the law requires, where you are targeting American citizens. And the case already surrounds you regarding what you already committed and what you are still committing, and that which you were committing while this agency is outside of that venue, stalking me day and night, targeting me. And I'm subject to targeting inside of that venue. I'm subject to malicious assertions inside of that venue, just like I'm showing at all other places at all times. And the entities engaging in that with the OVITT Family Community Library, the venue where I just came from, where the Ontario Police is not hindered in keeping my vagina under surveillance. They're engaged in ongoing stalking, ongoing criminal conduct, ongoing demented, demonic behavior, which is relevant to mental illness. The demon possession, the reason why that's relevant is because you need to know, number one. But number two, it's the reason why it's relevant is because it's going to be used to diagnose mental illness. That's why. Okay, this stalking with light conduct, which the people of the state that are demons, stalking, engaging in surveillance with the gang stalking police department, an oxymoron, which requires federal prison. When I'm documenting your license plate, I'm getting your images, you're going to prison. This is not traffic, this is surveillance. You're not a police department engaged in anything that where you're not protected at all. You are fully exposed. You're going to prison. I just want to make sure that that's clear. And that is a non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. You're going to federal prison. Okay? It is currently 10:11 p.m. This is an entity that's engaging in what is molestation with impossible light across the street while the demons of the Ontario Police are flying in circles still over the parking lot that's behind the bucket crabfish. I captured video of a demon on the opposite side of the street just the other night while the Ontario Police were also stalking, and the Ontario International Airport stalking, and you see the impossible light. That's what they're doing right now. The Ontario Police are still stalking. They're obsessed with me. They're, again, delusional, not going to silence me whatsoever. In fact, the
bucket crabfish, El Pescado, the gang stalking immigrants at the fake iglesia, they're going to be deported. The entities engaging in conduct that's putting everybody in the, they're putting the defendants based on their crimes that they've committed in the appropriate type of facility subject to the appropriate penalties. Meaning you committed kidnapping with the Ontario Police, you're going to prison. You engage in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police, that's federal prison. That's federal prison. You think that it's funny to engage in psychological torture? Mickey does. She thinks it's funny. But I hope that she maintains that same level of jovial enthusiasm in a federal courtroom. If she's ever been there before a federal judge, as a terrorist, as one that is acting in furtherance of murder, with which she finds it entertaining. That's a psychopath, by the way. She's also a violent sex offender, and she finds it entertaining to harass someone that she's targeting with a corrupt police department. This corrupt police department. That's federal prison. And Mickey's been engaged systematically. I want to be clear, another basis of federal prison for Mickey. She's been engaged in gang stalking with the City of Ontario, that is the Ontario Police Department, for years. That's federal prison. Okay? Engaging in what are more than one acts of criminal summoning and engaging in kidnapping. That's federal prison. But I want to be clear, this psychopath particularly finds it entertaining as I documented them engaging in criminal summoning while this entity covered up the fake sun at 4:56 p.m. And you already know that the fake sun is there. It's there well after 4:56 p.m. I just captured it the other day after 5 p.m. Shining through, 6:02 p.m. That was yesterday evening, 6:02 p.m. You didn't forget that. Neither is a federal judge going to forget that the demons of the Ontario Police are going to prison, and justice requires that the people of the state that are enabling a gang stalking police department that is intending to commit murder, as they've engaged in what is repeatedly targeting, making up information in order to commit kidnapping so that they can torture you in a facility where they can keep you, and also engage in what is a threat to your life. Your life is not safe when they're keeping you in a facility and they're monitoring and psychologically torturing. Your life is not safe. Your life is in harm's way. They're engaging in criminal surveillance upon kidnapping. That is a threat to your life. The entity's engaging in this as an entity. You're going to federal prison. I just want to be clear on that. You're going to federal prison, as surely as I put all this evidence online, you're going to federal prison. As surely as I document the entity flying in circles over me while I capture your screenshot and I'm documenting you monitoring the toilet that I'm using in the OVITT Family Community Library, you're going to federal prison. While I'm documenting you and the entities engaged in terrorizing me, you're going to federal prison because you committed kidnapping. Okay? Now, I don't think that that's funny, but maybe the demons that are sitting around watching in other states, maybe they find it funny. Okay, that's called a reaping. If you find it entertaining, but it's not going to be entertaining when you're in court with very real federal charges. You're going to federal prison because your ignoramus of a co-defendant doesn't know how to calm down and sit down somewhere and admit that you lost. And you lost a long time. You lost years ago. You're just now experiencing it because this is a trap. There were things that Satan needed to do and commit because there's no getting out of this prosecution. There's no getting out of this judgment. There's no backpedaling. There is no other way that it is anything other than what the evidence shows and what I said at the beginning. And there's also no other penalty other than what it is that I have prescribed and dictated. You're going to prison. That's why you've been able to engage in what is prolonged gang stalking. Because it's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's proof to a scientific degree, and it's proof and a prosecution that the rest of the country can use and the world can refer to. That's why you are going to federal prison. And that has been the case for the Ontario Police Department for years. That's why I said it years ago. They're going to be disbanded and they're going to federal prison. And there is no tears shed for any terrorist that hates this country. The Ontario Police Department is a pus-infected wound with regard to the public, with regard to the harm that they pose to society. And they have the audacity to get up every day and put on those uniforms and drive those vehicles and misrepresent what law enforcement is. They are a public shame and they're going to be prosecuted accordingly. Okay? And so is every other aspect of the City of Ontario. P.O.C. Remember, this is what the entity is doing at the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library where those kidnappers are going to prison. It is currently, by the way, 10:16 p.m. where there are no planes on schedule that are going to be taken off from the airport and hovering, competing with my voice at 537 North Euclid Avenue. And that was the same at 7:10 in the morning today as well. 7:10 a.m. No planes that are going to be hovering and then fly. As I go north, then those planes remain right there south of my person at the intersection. Okay? That's the City of Ontario. And the demons have decided that they're going to go down, and they're going to go down in flames. Okay? They're just going to go down miserably, obviously guilty. That's what they've decided. It's an embarrassing, shameful, obvious destruction
It's just a slam dunk for Christ Jesus. It literally is, because this is Satan being absolutely embarrassed and shamed, not just losing, but being triumphantly victorious and trampled over. That's what you have when you have the government openly gang stalking, and they were supposed to be the elite. There's nothing elite about monitoring my vagina. You're a sex offender. I'm gonna prosecute you just like that, and you're going to prison. This is P.O.C. It's currently 10:17 p.m. Remember, the city of Ontario, it's already done with. Literally, the city of Ontario, this is about the people of the state that are going to prison. This is about the people of the state that are going to be prosecuted, and all the policies that are used to prosecute and to penalize an entire population. An entire population. This is P.O.C. It's currently 10:17 p.m. The perpetual sex offense remains underway, ongoing psychological torture, and this is what was ongoing inside of the OVITT Family Community Library on a daily basis. They're engaging in what is all of that pattern of conduct inside of the venue, and you have psychopaths that are engaging in sitting around stalking in a library, and I am the obsession. It's not about being at work. It's about monitoring me. That's what's wrong with Mickey and Talia and Myra and the demons that are gang stalking as employees at the OVITT Family Community Library. And the gang stalking city of Ontario has aided in putting them in prison where they belong. Because you're going to prison, you were present, you engaged in kidnapping, you might as well just get ready, because you're going to federal prison. All right, the entities engaging in this conduct, and they are to their own demise, putting their own little demonic buddies away, because that's exactly what's happening, and that's exactly what's going to be the case in this country. You engage in kidnapping an American citizen, keeping them under surveillance. Domestic terrorists are going to federal prison. This is how you're going to target the Nephilim, who are engaging in trying to get away with secretly murdering people and targeting them and psychologically torturing them and sexually violating them as psychopaths, and doing it under the guise of calling itself a family community library, under the guise of calling itself a city airport, under the guise of referring to itself as a police department or as a coffee shop, or as traffic on the roads and the highways. They're demons. And the demons are going to be put away. They're going to be targeted with regard to what is federal law. This is P.O.C. All right, stalking at Chevron, maintaining relevant positioning. Again, as I walk from 537, this is a population that's stalking in the path, meaning whatever path that you take, they're stalking you as a population. It's not traffic or just happening to turn right onto Euclid and then left onto State Street. They are stalking along the path that you are going, and they're doing so while making sure that someone is always in your path. That includes the entity of demons who are sharing corporate knowledge about you. This is demonic activity. You're prosecuting in the physical for what is the proof of that stalking as a population, the government's harassment, like I'm documenting, and the government's harassment in an environment that is tailored to me. That is, the fake moon moves as I move, the fake sun moves as I move. The entity is stalking with absurd light, which is supernatural. It's not their headlights and it's not sunlight during the day. They're doing so while I go from place to place, and that environment, which is supernatural, is following from place to place. Then they go to places like the gas stations where they can engage in surveillance at a gas pump, aiming light, which is a psychopath that's both engaging in that conduct but also engaging in trying to stalk somebody in a manner that you're not supposed to be aware of. I'm about to go to the gas station so I could stalk you, and it looks like I'm doing something else. That's a psychopath, okay? That's a demon that wants to get away with murdering you and maintaining a narrative as far away from anything that has to do with you as possible. That's the point of that. License, that's the mindset behind it. That's the threat behind it. License 8WBA894. So this demon should be coming out right over here. Let me go ahead and confirm that license plate. Going to gas pump number 6. License plate 8WBA894. That is correct. All right. It is 10:28 p.m. These demons are now engaging in the ongoing gang stalk with Chevron. The employee is still in there, license 8XIY347. Monitoring with the gang stalking patrons, monitoring with the government at all times. And even when the employee drives off the property, the Chevron is still going to be prosecuted for 24-hour surveillance. That's why the fake sun, the fake moon, the ongoing P.O.C, the demons go and engage in surveillance at a gas pump all night long, monitoring. License 2393901. The red Dodge, gang stalking at gas pump number 2. The entities engaging what is aiming light. So they're sharing and monitoring monitoring pursuant to stalking, and doing so on behalf of, in other words, helping the demons of the City of Ontario, the police department, fire department, airport, that are clearly engaging in targeting. And so are the people. They are clearly engaged in targeting. Okay? P.O.C. Impossible light while the employee walks out. That demon's license plate is 9VLA645. And let me remind you about that employee that's targeting me in concert with the demon at ARCO. That employee's license plate, relevant for what is also deportation, license 7XIY347. That's P.O.C. All right, this is 10:29 p.m. Your life is being threatened. Your physical safety, your liberty is threatened, and your well-being is threatened while the entity is stalking you with things such as impossible light activity, including while you document. It's a psychologically harmful while you're subject to it, and even if you know it's a subconscious, it's a demonic, it's a threat to you and your safety, and including especially while you're documenting it. So then you're doing it with regard to communicating an unlawful threat as well, psychologically harming you. And the entity is doing so with the gang stalking employee at Chevron, and deportation is very relevant. The same with Balbir this morning. It's the same with German. They're gang stalking as a corrupt business. Chevron is very heavily documented. Sunrise and sunset, fake moon, stalking with impossible light, harassment, terrorism, engaging in facilitating violence that I'm subject to, threats that I'm subject to inside of that tiny little market where a bunch of demons want to stalk me inside of there, and the government's stalking me as I walk in and out by planes and helicopters, engaging in criminal summoning, molesting my body. Everything that Chevron is engaging in, including through its gang stalking employees, which very well may be subject to deportation. And that is what they are subject to as a matter of justice. Okay? It is currently 10:30 p.m. The entity is monitoring the evidence that I will be publishing on the internet regarding all of those federal offenses, all that criminal conduct, terrorism, which is directly relevant to prosecuting the people of the state, just like this. Because the Ontario Police is monitoring through that. The same criminal conduct. All they did was fly around in circles. Don't forget who's going to be disbanded, the Ontario Police, and it's the same legal analysis right here. They're stalking with the government. That's why they're not getting in trouble for gang stalking, because the gang stalker is the government itself. Okay. License plates. I want to make sure I read that. I think I read that license plate. So yeah, this is documentation of the entity that's engaged in ongoing targeting while I upload the evidence online. They are monitoring on the Wi-Fi network, ARCO. This is federal stalking on the venue of the internet at 434 North Euclid Avenue. And the fake moon is over me. I'm going to take a picture of that because this is where the fake sun was over me this morning, where the entity was stalking biplanes at E and Euclid. And by the way, you'll notice the fake moon moved. It was over the corner of F Street and Euclid, where the entity was also stalking by helicopter. That fake moon moves just like the fake sun moved from E Street and Euclid to the Ontario Town Square, where the entity is stalking by planes and helicopters. That's the P.O.C. Those are the demons that are not helping the Ontario board and executive team. I'm going to prosecute them. I'm going to prosecute them. (10:32 p.m.) And the gang stalking immigrant that works at Chevron is gang stalking by filling up his gas tank, monitoring me in doing so with the Ontario International Airport. It's 10:32 p.m. And what you'll also see in the images, the airport is targeting me. They're no longer flying over the Truth and Love Ministries storefront where they are while I'm at that bus stop at F Street. They're flying over here south of my person, not flying over beyond me, targeting somebody else or some other location, where none of these planes are engaging in any takeoffs or arrivals to the airport. This is targeting on its face, and you're also looking at even clearer targeting while the fake sun and moon move over me, and the entity is also engaging what is moving particular to where I'm located, including the frequency of those planes every 30 seconds. The Ontario board and the Ontario executive team are going to be prosecuted for terrorism. P.O.C. They're flying over the parking lot. I took a picture of it. No longer flying over the Euclid Avenue where I'm located at the bus stop. Okay? Stalking. Stalking with planes.
It's 10:34 p.m. Stalking with light. License plate 9LWE 758. License 9RMC 407 9LOYD 93. All right, on surveillance cameras at ARCO, crossing path, monitoring at the gas station, stalking in the path. This is a demon that's on foot. I documented this demon or another third party parking at the, it's very pathetic. It's like being in a bathroom stalking somebody. That's also very perverted, but it's pathetic. The entity is using whatever they can, a gas stall, what do I need, a paper towel, what I need to put air on my tire, anything to engage in what is being around me, stalking. That's what the entity is doing at the ARCO gas station right now. And that is license 7X HM496. They're monitoring what I'm uploading on the internet. It's 10:35 p.m. All right, stalking with light, making sure that they cross path. As soon as I move, a demon's rushing across the street because they're making sure that they are crossing my path, making sure that they block my path. That's an obsessed stalker, and this is an entire population. 6P 52960, gang stalking at gas stall number 6 at ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue. Again, let's license 7XHM 498. Because I think I might have said 9, but it's 7XHM. And let me get this other third party as well. 7XHM. Yeah, and the last two are 96. That car door is monitoring. I'm walking. 9PQF005, gang stalking at gas stall number 7. And she is stalking with the Ontario Police Department as well. She's gang stalking via gas stall number 7, and the Ontario Police are now stalking at Euclid and E, where I'm at, by helicopter. All right, and this Latina-looking female, fair skin, black hair, she's on surveillance camera. She's using gas stall number 7 with a silver vehicle, and that license plate, she's engaged in targeting on behalf of the police in furtherance of murder and kidnapping, and she does so with impunity. And if this is an immigrant, deportation. This is relevant to what is federal prison, however. The entity that stalks with the police, you're going to prison along with those police officers. This is P.O.C. It's 10:42 p.m. All right, stalking with light, Ontario Police, license 15469. Hold on, 1546950. Stalking with this same third party. Let me give you her license plate again. She's stalking with the Ontario Police. She's threatening the wrong person. This is federal prison. Her license plate is 9PQF005. That's exactly why they're going to prison. And that demon is gang stalking with the people of the state. You're not just driving by the gas station. You're stalking so I'm reading the license plate of a stalker that's targeting as a population, altogether acting in furtherance of murder. And one of those stalkers that are demons are stalking with light in a police vehicle and doing so in helicopter with that same third party. And she and the entity is aware that I documented and intentionally engage in communicating a threat, again, a threat to a federal prosecutor during the process of an investigation and documentation. That's relevant to federal prison. Just want to be clear. Her that license plate of that third party, she crosses path, leaves the gas stall at the same time that those demons of the Ontario Police drive by. Again, threatening the wrong person. You're stalking with light inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. So as I captured the molestation on the elevator, then the demons think that it's a genius idea to have the fake sun so low that it's shining at 6 p.m. Through the entrance of that OVITT Family Community Library. And while I'm sitting at computer station number 4, all the way to where my chair is, light is reaching all the way over toward me, stalking me with light, just like the Ontario Police are. They're stalking. So is this demon at gas stall number 7, and you're going to prison. I don't know who you think you're threatening, but you're going to federal prison, just like Talia. You want to be a demon and stalk? You're going to prison for that. 5ZBA 199, stalking. All right, this is the entity that engaged in that. They're demons. The entity just engaged in providing me 4 consecutive videos, and they're all at the intersection of F Street and Euclid. Now that I'm at E Street and Euclid, this is where the entity is flying over, while this demon at gas stall number 7 is engaging what is stalking with the entity using helicopter and police vehicles, threatening my life while I document her. Okay, the Ontario Police are already done with. The people of the state are the ones that are going to prison. Those are the same duos that commit kidnapping together.
lying and saying I harassed her, calling them and stating that you need to purchase something instead of just opening your mouth and asking me as a customer that buys something every day. Those are the demons that commit kidnapping together, that are stalking together, that are demons together, okay? Stalking with light. License plate. This is the out-of-state license plate. License plate, TJN 7809, Virginia. P.O.C, African American, black-faced demons, okay? Gang stalking with corrupt police. In California, they're only uttering audible activity under a fake sun. They don't care about Black Lives Matter. All right, it's currently 10:46 p.m. These are demons. Stalking at Lemon Avenue and F Street, where the people of the state live, where the fake sun is rising in the morning, where those demons are gang stalking under the fake moon right now. 9DFN 578 is stalking with light with them. P.O.C. It's 10:46 p.m. All right, license, stalking with light, license plate. I'm trying to make a sharp turn. Again, it's like driving an Acura, gang stalking at gas stall number 6. One demon after another. So the demons with the Virginia plate drive off, and these demons drive up. This is ongoing demonic pacing. And by the way, the demon possessor are of all races. Again, license TJN 7809 Virginia, and arrives in replacing stalking in the path as one entity. All right, it is 10:50 p.m. Monitoring with the government that needs the people of the state to engage in surveillance, and they're all demons. 8 p.o.m. 9:05. Filling up your gas tank and engineer light is P.O.C. Doing so under a fake moon is P.O.C. Doing so in the shoes of the government that's maintaining aerial surveillance and stalking as departments such as the fire department, police department, airport is P.O.C. It's the Nephilim, and this is their criminal system. And doing so with ARCO is P.O.C. You're going to prosecute ARCO. This is a pattern of conduct. This is why it's not limited to your business hours. I'm going to prosecute ARCO as a facilitating venue. And you already know that it actually is, in fact, a facilitating venue. And it is just based on the criminal pattern of conduct of state surveillance that's designed to occur at all places and at all times. And that's why their employees are gang stalking demons as well. That's literally why the city is designed the way that it is, so that they can have locations to maintain places like surveillance, where you have a 24-hour drive-through, where you have a gas station, where you can have, for example, a 24-hour Walmart. This is where the entity designs the cities in ways that are conducive to the demons who are engaging in 24-hour surveillance targeting. That's the purpose of it. It's very easy to document the airport when they don't even have 24-hour flights. They certainly do not maintain flights that are occurring from the airport every 32 seconds. They are certainly not flying miles away from the airport, perpetually hovering through the sky space and never engaging in actual takeoff. That's a prosecution of a clearly targeting airport, in addition to what is the evidence of the crime scene that they're doing it in, and pursuant to what is the documented clear pattern where they are admittedly maintaining knowledge, because you're not coincidentally engaging in more and more targeting as I document you, and then engaging that pattern over and over and over again. So you're not only targeting, but you are aware of the fact that you're being documented while you're targeting, and that incentivizes you to engage in more targeting. Those are psychopaths that are going to be both committed and convicted. It is 10:52 p.m. P.O.C. Demonic pacing. Stalking at the UNICARE Community Health Center. That's at the intersection of E and Euclid. Remember, I just said moments ago the demons were stalking at Lemon and F Street. This is Lemon and E Street, maintaining light activity in the middle of the street with their hazards. Then you have what is, I've documented LabCorp engaging that, stalking at the entryway between the buildings at the UNICARE Community Health Center across from Starbucks, stalking with light activity. That's what they're doing, vacillating positions on both sides of the street with light activity, and the demons are vacillating presence at the gas station. This is the entity that's stalking together as an entity. All right, as a demon-possessed entity, because the objective is to maintain presence and engineered light. While those demons are preparing to drive off, another one drives up, license 8SGW078. This is gang stalking. All right, this is the prosecution of the government that engaged in kidnapping. The OVITT Family Community Library, these demons are going to prison. They're going to prison. So one demon, again, systematically, ongoing, P.O.C. Going to gang stalking at gas stall number 1, and they're monitoring as I'm uploading on the internet. And they're doing so with impunity. They don't care that they're being documented. And they know this is not about being ignorant about. This is well beyond that. These demons know, just like the Ontario police know that they're being documented. They don't care. They'll fly over my head over and over again. They'll fly in circles, follow me around from city to city. They are going to monitor while I upload the evidence about it in real time. They do not, that's how obsessed and psychopathic they are. That's an unlawful threat by the government that commits murder. They commit serial killings as they are targeting American citizens as an ongoing organized system of crime. Okay? The entity knows that it's being documented. They don't care. They don't care about catching a federal case because you are. But they don't care about that. They are not going to stop maintaining surveillance. That's informing federal legislation. That's relevant to when terrorists are going to be targeted in all the ways in which that they are in the city of Ontario in particular, the state of California. Okay? It's 10:54 p.m. This is Federal Stalking Online. This is P.O.C. License 8SGW078 and license 9PRB807 while the entity is just maintaining roaring noise in the sky like a dinosaur is over here in the parking lot. That's audible noise while demons are stalking with light, doing so at the UNICARE Community Health Center, doing so by gang stalking coming onto the grounds of the gas station, doing so by driving on Euclid Avenue and then turning onto what is E Street, crossing path with me. This is the P.O.C. It's 10:56 p.m. It's pathetic what the demons are doing, but this is gang stalking. This is a tutorial. This is gang stalking. These are the demons that bully the ordinary target individual doesn't know what's going on, and you are reasonably fearful of psychopaths, okay? But I'm prosecuting demons. Demons are pathetic. 6YZW, maintaining presence. This demon leaves and another one arrives. 6YZW948, maintaining presence in the path. Never abandoning presence in the path. The objective is what I'm doing on my device and online, never abandoning presence in the path. That's what you're paying attention to. And who's making money? The pockets who you're going to drain. You're going to prosecute for making money. While gang, you're going to prosecute for that. License plate 9DOJ735. You're going to prosecute for profiting from gang stalking, and you're going to drain the pockets as well. Okay, you're going to prosecute for the crime of making money upon gang stalking. You're going to prosecute for that crime. All right, it is 10:57 p.m. All right, pacing. One leaves, another one arrives. License plate 8CWU541. 8 Charlie Uncle Wendy 541. It's 10:58 p.m. Stalking with light while the entity is maintaining audible noise like a dinosaur's in the parking lot. This is a demon. License plate 8SDU597. And it's 11:06 p.m. And the entity is monitoring what I publish onto Facebook as well. The entity is engaged in what is monitoring evidence in addition to monitoring in the first place, which is terrorism and furtherance of murder. Ooh, deportation may be very much relevant here. License 9STU433. Gang stalking via gas stall number 4. Surrounding at the ARCO gas station, maintaining light activity, noise, presence. They're all doing so in engineer light. If we're the target individual at the gas station, well, everybody's going to have to just keep arriving at the gas station and to maintain presence, okay? The entity's engaged in what is monitoring evidence against the government. This is the government that's interfering with an ongoing case against itself, which is a federal no-no. And every level of government that's going to be prosecuted is going to be prosecuted for that unlawful act as well. It is 11:06 p.m. This is P.O.C. 11:08 p.m. Again, targeting where I'm at, not flying over the storefront across Euclid Avenue, flying over the parking lot where I'm at the ARCO, stalking in a plane at 11:09 p.m. P.O.C. That's the Ontario Board and the Ontario Executive Team engaging in domestic terrorism and psychological torture. I'm going to prosecute them as terrorists. Absolutely no flights published online either. While the entity is aware that the evidence of them targeting is online, it says something went wrong. Please try again when looking up the arrivals and departures on the Ontario International website. Something is wrong. Something is wrong with the minds of Ronald Loveridge, Julia Gu, Kurt Hagman, Jim Bowman and Alan D. Wapner. And what is wrong is that they are engaging in criminal conduct while calling themselves, esteeming themselves as anything greater than cockroaches who are sitting in positions where they esteem themselves higher than they ought to. They are the despicable. They're actually enemies of this country, and they engage in abusing positions of affluence and authority to engage in targeting people. People that they misconstrued as someone that they were just going to oppress, and I was just going to be silent, and they were just going to get away with just targeting me. I'm going to prosecute the whole so-called Ontario International Airport, all right, for stalking in the middle of the night and then trying to conceal what is the times of the departures. Oh, here we go. Thank you. All right, it's currently October 9th, right? Yeah, it's October 9th. So the entity has evidence of what is the flight patterns on October 12th. Just want to I just want to publish that October 12th and October 13th. This after stating, oh, something is wrong. Something must be wrong. Oh, here we go. October 8th. And stalking with light. Again, license 9STU433, very likely subject to deportation. Those are two Asian women. The entities engage in the pattern of conduct with all ethnicities, all races, and this is relevant to deportation of any and every person that's not a natural-born citizen. And so that's where that becomes an it remains relevant. So, but I'm documenting that. The entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct is doing so with those who are enemies of the United States, and gang stalking immigrants are enemies of this country, and they need to be deported accordingly. All right. This is P.O.C. the entity gang stalking with no license plates when they're aware of the fact that they're being documented. These are the cowards that like to engage in stalking with light and running. These are the demons that want to engage in stalking with helicopter flying in circles and then want to harass you and while you're uploading onto the internet. These are the cowards that are engaging in stalking as a population. All right. Neither one are a formidable adversary individually, and certainly they are not collectively, because this is not a numbers game. But it is a numbers game insofar as how many defendants I will have prosecuted that will walk away with a criminal record, that will be convicted, and being obsessed with me and never forgetting me because I am the reason why they're going to have those convictions. It's 11:12 p.m. That's obstruction of justice. The entity is going to be prosecuted for gang stalking. There's no anonymity, and you're also not getting away with anything while I'm documenting you gang stalking as an entity, and the entity is covering up means of identification. It's the same thing with gang stalking police officers, refusing your badge number, refusing to identify yourself while the entity is engaged in criminal conduct. It's additional charges. You will be prosecuted. It's 11:12 p.m. This is P.O.C. Oh, by the way, this demon is gang stalking at gas stall number 2, which is a means of identification as well on surveillance cameras. P.O.C. Okay, stalking at a gas station in the middle of the night. Doing so, license 9NUV794. 11:18 p.m. Ongoing surveillance of internet activity, which is federal stalking by the government, not by individuals. This is an entity that's acting in violation of existing law and with regard to the exposure of what is real and really happening in the U.S. First of all, criminal monitoring, which is demonic activity. And it's also the reality of domestic terrorism underway by the American government in concert with the civilian population. And they're all demons at that. It's 11:18 p.m. Chevron, sex offense. Demons pacing on the property. Chevron's engaging in the sex offense by those demons who are maintaining a paper trail regarding their identity themselves. And I'm also documenting this sex offender is sharing with the co-defendant committing a sex offense together. These are demons engaging in a whole demonic orgy, and I'm going to prosecute them as sex offenders. License 9NUV794, sexual assault and battery. License 8PSZ 764, sexual assault and battery. And so is Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue. And these are while the demons are triggered by what I'm uploading on the internet. They're going to the gas station to engage in criminal conduct, and the specific environment is what is superseding. Regardless of stating that you go there every night on your way home after you get off of work at Denny's, you're going to be prosecuted for the sex offense committed by that establishment, Chevron, where they're engaging using Chevron as a means of criminal monitoring. And Chevron's engaging in a sex offense with ARCO, with the people of the state, and every license plate as an entity, including while the entity seeks to obstruct justice, having a demon with no license plate engage in that pattern of conduct. It is currently 11:22 p.m.
Alrighty, I'm going to get the sex offender engaging in molestation. That's a sexual assault and battery, which is, again, the Ontario police are being disbanded as sex offenders as well. And so is the Ontario Board and Ontario Entertainment. It is entertainment that they call themselves, an executive team. But they are engaged in sexual assault and battery, license 8EGU344. 8EGU344, engaging in sexual assault and battery, engaging in surveillance by stalking at a gas stall. Doing so, which is called relevant positioning, and light activity while impulsive light molests my person, which has nothing to do with their headlights. In the same way that the fake sun has nothing to do with impulsive light activity. Also light activity that you see shooting into the depths of the OVITT Family Community Library, reaching out toward me. That's how desperate they are to be around me, to be near my vagina, to stalk me everywhere that I'm going, to listen to me breathe, to listen to me blink, to monitor everything that I'm doing. It's exhibited, it's personified through the stalking with light conduct. These are mentally ill psychopaths who are demon-possessed, and they're obsessively stalking me, and they're engaging in that conduct with stalking light, which has nothing to do with sunlight either. Okay? Sarah's Regis group is gang stalking, while a demon is engaging in surveillance outside in relevant position on the opposite side of the same parking lot. And that is, again, an entity that is stalking together while a demon is parking, surrounding the perimeter behind me. I took a picture of that. It's 11:24 p.m. Parked on what is right behind me in relevant position on what is D Street, in between Euclid and Lemon. In the way that I was documenting, doing so at what is the UNICARE Community Health Center, the demons maintaining light. And then as I documented before that, the demons maintaining light at E Street and Lemon. And as I documented before, this ongoing pacing at the gas station where I'm at is ongoing stalkers maintaining light around me while the entity is maintaining aerial surveillance. This is P.O.C. and they're engaging in federal stalking also on the internet. This is the pattern of conduct. This is gang stalking. It's 11:24. And these are the demon-possessed who are going to be exposed and prosecuted as violent sex offenders. And where they thought that they were going to watch me on the internet, on the dark web, where only a sick mind that is demon-possessed and in need of Christ Jesus would find that even entertaining, or would even have heard of it to watch it. I've never heard of anything like that, and I would never watch or consume anything like that. You are a depraved soul, and you are witnessing yourself and your sick mind and your demons being manifest as I'm exposing them. You're watching and listening and being triggered by what you are and what's wrong with you, by the way. Those demons who are engaging and watching me expose you as I'm prosecuting demons on the streets out here in California. These demons that thought that it was entertaining are now watching a whole different scenario, and they're watching themselves being humiliated. They're watching themselves being ostracized. They're watching themselves being targeted. They're watching themselves being prosecuted and exposed. All right, they're watching themselves being shown to be the psychopaths that they are. No longer thinking that it's funny, because only demons tell each other that it's funny to watch somebody being targeted on the internet. What type of sickness is that? Who finds that entertaining? Who buys that sort of content on the internet? Who's giving sex offenders and psychopaths like Jason Fields and Tracy Banks even a market to feed that? Okay, those are the demons that are listening and subscribing to my channel. You need Christ Jesus, and you're witnessing yourself being exposed, and demons like you belong where these demons are going. You belong in asylums. You belong in prison. You belong out this country. If you're a gang-stalking immigrant, there are enough terrorists. I just want to be clear, there's nothing entertaining about watching an American citizen. You are sick. You're sick, and your sickness is because Satan resides in you, your father, the devil. Okay, and all I'm doing is giving voice to that which is residing in the depths of you. And that's also why you're enamored by it at the same time. You are very sick, but you're watching a different show now. It took a surprise turn. And the climax is the entity's going to be raided and the entity's going to be prosecuted. And that was, again, a twist that the entity that likes to watch people suffer on the dark web, they're going to be prosecuted on the dark web. Everyone's going to watch that. It's not my sacrifice, it's the sacrifice of Satan. The entity that should not be engaging in such sick consumption of that in the first place. And those of you that are consuming this, those of you that are watching throughout the world, you need the Lord Jesus Christ for many, many, many reasons, okay? With regard to your sick mind, okay? But there's a reason why also, besides your sickness that brought you here, because you need someone to tell you that, and you need to repent before it's too late. This is a warning.
All right, the entities engaged in this conduct and they're being exposed on the internet. They're being humiliated on the dark web, where it's supposed to be the entertainment for demons, and it's the prosecution of demons. This is P.O.C. It's 11:27 p.m. One demon replacing another. This is the license plate at ARCO. Remember, 434 North Euclid Avenue is going to be prosecuted for criminal monitoring and facilitation. The business itself is there for the criminal purposes of federal group stalking and monitoring. License 6EHH449, P.O.C. The airport that is miles away. This is a demon stalking at gas stall number 4. These are psychopaths who are entirely pathetic while they're stalking me and I'm humiliating and prosecuting them. But the entity nonetheless has the sound of, again, a Tyrannosaurus Rex while a demon is stalking by being at a gas stall. License 6EHH449 is a psychopath in the same way that that inexplicable noise is occurring. That's the personification of the mental illness. If there were a picture or a skit, that's their mental illness of a demon that's stalking. All right. The entity engaged in this while Ceres Regis is being documented. Surveillance at that apartment complex. A demon engaged in surveillance, stalking on the road with a light activity. The entity is doing the same thing by traffic. Okay. Just maintaining traffic on the street is light activity as well. The demon's engaged in surveillance, parking on the side of the road in relevant position. They're monitoring me. Okay. And the entity drives off as when I go to approach and get the license plate, those demons skirt off. Those are the cowards that are watching on the dark web, engaging in voyeurism. You're disgusting. And you're a bunch of perverts who are scared and ashamed to be exposed for the demons that you are. But it is the time for the Nephilim to be identified and be identified as the inhumane predators that you are. You do need Jesus, okay? But this is a people that I'm not going to mince words with regard to your sickness, engaging in what is a depraved conduct, unfathomable, and with regard to the level of sickness and how despicable and disgusting that it is to watch another person under any circumstances against their will, against their knowledge, doing so on the internet. You're that pathetic to pay money. You can't make a friend. Nobody wants to be in your presence. You sit there masturbating in a basement that probably belongs to your parent, watching child porn and then watching people being gang stalked in other parts of the world. You need Jesus. You need Jesus, and you are being humiliated because you have the same spirit. You're watching yourself being exposed. And this is the time for Satan to be exposed accordingly. This is the time for that. This is a warning to repent before you don't have an opportunity to anymore. This is a warning. It is currently 11:32 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, more evidence of cowards that like to sit around on the internet like losers that are watching other people suffer, and this is because they're hellbound. That's why. But they're engaged in what is, while I'm exposing them and calling them out and prosecuting them and humiliating them, they are, again, monitoring on the internet. This is relevant to every defendant that I documented at ARCO and at Chevron and gang stalking on the roads and the highways over here, monitoring on the internet, removing the evidence from the folder where you would be able to publicly see the demons stalking in planes, see them stalking in helicopter, see them stalking by license plate, see them stalking by being pathetic at a gas stall, as pathetic as sitting at home on a laptop watching somebody in their home, watching somebody take their clothes off, watching them bend over when they're in the privacy of their own home, obsessed with that which they'll never be acquainted with in real life. That's how pathetic the demon-possessed are. This is what they commit as an entity, and they're stalking me in planes and helicopters in Ontario, California, calling itself a board. I'm going to prosecute those sex offenders. I'm going to prosecute them for engaging in trafficking. I'm going to prosecute them for facilitation of psychological torture. I'm going to prosecute them for being pathetic cockroaches that they are. That's why they're being humiliated, because they are the ones that are to be embarrassed. They're the ones that are ashamed to engage in the conduct that they're committing. Making fun of normal people. Who is making, while you're stalking? I don't understand where you get, but I know where you get it. It comes out of the pit of hell. Losers that tell each other that they're winners. And it's only in that circle of losers that they tell each other that they're winners. Where do you get that from? Out of the pit of hell, exactly where you're headed if you do not repent. Your mind isn't even right. That doesn't even make any sense. While you are a whole stalker out here and you find it entertaining, or like you can make fun or talk about anyone else when you're stalking them. Why are you stalking them? If you do not recognize that you are mentally sick, you have gone to a degree to which no one but Jesus can help you. And if you do not repent for your very mind, you're going to bust hell wide open, and you're going to go there a crazy person. This is not about whether you like the messenger. This is not whether you like how my tone of voice and as I speak the truth. It's not about that. This is a warning. This is a warning. You're sitting up watching me on the internet because this is your warning. This is your warning. He knows exactly who you are. He knows the sickness that you participate in, that you engage in, that you facilitate, that you approve. Not only here on earth, but in your sick black heart. He knows about it. This is a warning. It's not successful, and he is under no circumstances forgetful or ignorant about it. And in the ways in which demons are being prosecuted for what were their secrets that are now being exposed and then being embarrassed by it. Now they're so triggered, they're openly engaged in what was supposed to be a secret elite operation in the first place. He knows who you are. You have a limited amount of time. Tomorrow is not promised. Repent while you can. This is P.O.C. The entities of cowards are moving the evidence that they're embarrassed by out of the folder, which is speaking to the truth of that which I speak, which is speaking to the criminals that are stalking me as a population. There is nothing to make fun of when you are obsessively stalking me. I'm the person that you want to be. I'm the person that you're sitting up mimicking and mocking and following around. That's because you're a confused fan, a demon-possessed one. You're actually miserable and you wish that you could find a way out of it. And it is Christ Jesus. It's Christ Jesus. You need him. That's why you're so sick. That's why you're triggered by the truth of me telling you that you're so sick. That's why you're listening to me tell you that you're sick in the first place. Because if you weren't sick, you wouldn't even have any idea about my content. You're a demon and you need Jesus, and you're going to burn in hell if you don't repent. And that's the truth. This is P.O.C. This is exposing the reality of judgment, which is coming. He's coming back, and he will be coming back in judgment this time. He's coming back in judgment this time. And as disgusted as I am, understand that this is judgment with regard to what is wicked that he knows even more about. And I'm disgusted with the bit that I know. This is an entity that's engaged in criminal conduct. I'm just prosecuting based on my ability to apply my skill set and prosecute demons that think that they can engage in things that nobody else knows about. The joke is on you, Satan, because I'm going to drag you in court. And I'm going to humiliate you on the internet. And I'm going to expose you for the sicko that you are. While you think that you can make fun of other people because they can't see you. Everybody sees you now, Satan. Now what? Now what? Now you're the laughing stock. Now what? Now you're the one that's backpedaling. Now what? Now you're the one that's running off with your booty hole puckering up, scared to death. Now what? This is an entity that's engaged in that. Satan is a coward. Satan is a coward. You're stalking as a population, you're a coward. You're engaging in what is gang stalking and trying to lie about it. You have to make up information as a police department. You're supposed to literally be the face of nobility and heroism and the arbiter of justice. You're supposed to be representing strength, and these puppets lie just to be in my presence. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's Satan. You're the one that is now on your back with your feet in the air. And it was pathetic at the outset. All I did was put you in the appropriate posture, put everything in the appropriate context so you could be seen as the coward, so you could be seen as the perverts, so you could be seen as the criminals and the losers that you are. You need Christ Jesus, and it's disgusting, but you need Christ Jesus. You need Christ Jesus. That's what's wrong with you. That's why you're so sick, because you need Christ Jesus. And that's why you're so triggered, because you need Christ Jesus. But if you did not, if you were not a sicko, you wouldn't even know about Erica Lorraine Spencer's podcast. You're a demon and you're sitting up as a sicko, twisted fan. And you're not going to get what you thought you were tuning into. You're witnessing your own exposure. You're witnessing your own humiliation. That's what you're witnessing. And when Christ Jesus comes back, it's going to be even worse. You do not have forever. He's coming back, and you need to repent before it's too late. This is a warning. It's a warning. There's no getting out of my prosecution. That's done. I'm talking about Christ Jesus coming back and people being cast into hell for all eternity. Repent before you don't have an opportunity to anymore. This is P.O.C. It's 11:41. All right, license plate, sex offense of the entity engaged in the P.O.C. That is license plate 9RQR304. The sex offense of an entity engaging in that pattern of conduct and harassment upon sexual assault and battery as an entity. The entity is engaged in the P.O.C. and admittedly engaging in monitoring, asking me when I'm asking him about an Uber. He's like, well, I don't know, but are you recording me? This is an entity. What are you talking about? Are you the Uber? Do you know Jenna? Are you the Uber? No, but are you recording me? This is, and I'm over here waiting for a ride, as far as you know. What are you talking about, sir? This is an entity that's engaged in that, and then is engaging in what is assault with a deadly weapon because this demon is embarrassed and mad. Okay, demons don't get any respect from me, so I just want to document while you're out in the middle of the night stalking me, I'm going to embarrass you. All right, this is somebody that should be stalking a treadmill. Okay, but is instead stalking a woman in the middle of the night while talking about what is nonsense pertaining to engaging in surveillance at a gas station. This is the likes of what the Ontario Police Department are stalking with. These are losers. These are the losers that are engaged in that conduct, and that's a demon engaging in what is sexual assault and battery. Again, this is the mentally ill. These are the demons that are engaging in criminal conduct with the government. This is what a whole airport board is relying to engage in stalking. This is the entity that's engaging in stalking me in bathrooms and monitoring my vagina. The entity is engaging in what is using helicopters and police vehicles pursuant to demons like this, imbeciles like this. But those are imbeciles of that police department. Those are imbeciles of the city of Ontario. But I just want to show you how, again, these are literally lowlifes that are engaging in stalking. Those are the demon possessed. There is nothing reputable. There is nothing admirable that you should be influenced by another demon that doesn't even like themselves. Okay, should be, again, running toward and stalking aerobics exercises rather than a woman in the middle of the night, lurking and trying to shine with light like a demon, and then hostile because you're embarrassed about the truth of that. And it's the same analysis with the whole police department. You're triggered, so then you engage in flying over the top of my head over and over again, and you're stalking me. And what are you triggered by? Because you're stalking as a police department, and you should have something important to do. Okay, this is an entity that is entirely pathetic, and they're humiliated because they are put in that light, showing how pathetic they are when they are accustomed to living a life which is an entire illusion, telling themselves as losers that they are winners and they're not. They sacrifice actual winners. They sit up and stalk and worship them and watch them on the dark web. These are the sickos that are demons that are gang stalking. And that in and of itself is state action, and I'm going to prosecute for that. And there will be federal laws with regard to what the government is doing with sex offenders, the average sex offender that's living in California. All right, it is currently 11:46 p.m. This is P.O.C, the entity that's threatening my life and harassing me incessantly by a bunch of demons that are engaged in surveillance via ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue and Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. This is P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is obstruction while monitoring the evidence of targeting me at F Street in Euclid, and I go to upload it, and then the demons engage in ongoing surveillance together, okay? This is an entity that's obsessed. This big belly demon is obsessively stalking and doing so on behalf of the state. 7JWP333, sharing in that harassment, okay? This is POC. It's currently 11:46 p.m. Strangers are stalking in the middle of the night in furtherance of murder. Just want to be clear. They're engaging in molestation with impulsive light activity in furtherance of what is psychological torture committed as an entity. They're absolute psychopaths that are engaging in that conduct for a criminal objective, a very criminal, specific criminal objective, and that's all state action. This is POC. It is currently 11:47 p.m. POC. All right, this is Satan saying, Black B, you're crazy, you're stupid. That's, again, the state speaking. Engaging in sexual assault and battery and audible activity, which is criminally defamatory and threatening. Again, that's license plate 9RQR304. POC. He is appropriately labeled. You will see him, an up-close image of him. He's mentally ill. This is a demon that's actually using his face to speak, but he's going to be prosecuted as a state. All right? This is an entity that is engaging what are demons that are stalking you and doing so with regard to what is hostility because they're being documented for stalking. And this is indeed stalking. I'm not out here capturing people that are innocently engaging, just present. This is the POC. And these are demons that are engaging in very specific and unique criminal conduct together as one, ceaselessly underway. The entity that's stalking me by helicopter, all that evidence. And this is the entity. This is the Ontario Police Department speaking that's being disbanded. This is the Ontario Police Department that's speaking that's engaging in criminal surveillance with regard to harassment. This is an entity that's obsessively obsessed with me while engaging what is stopping in the middle of the street. This is how obsessed he is. And this is a demon that is speaking. Very hostile because he's exposed, because I'm also pointing out the fact that he has a belly hanging over his seatbelt. But he's very hostile because he's exposed as one that is obsessively stalking me and is doing so in an overly concerned demon with me. This is the Ontario Police being disbanded. This for this very criminal conduct, incentivizing and facilitating it. And this is all state action. Every syllable coming out of this demon's mouth. Hey, Black B, something about crack. I didn't even hear it, but I'm capturing pictures of it. This is the state speaking.
When they're engaged in defaming your character, that's the state speaking. They're doing it under the state's fake moon. They're doing it with the state that's stalking by planes and helicopters. They're doing it in the state's engineer light. They're doing it as an entity that's maintaining surveillance for that government. So I want to make sure, here's the engineer light. I got 2 shadows in front. License 9RQR304. Obsessively stalking in the middle of the street. That is indeed a sex offender who is severely mentally ill. Okay? Like I said, should be not only stalking a treadmill, but perhaps a professional with regard to therapy. But this demon is clearly triggered by the truth of what it is that I'm telling him about how pathetic he is. And it's the truth. The entities engaged in, again, psychopaths engage in more violence as opposed to, okay, I am in the wrong. I mean, what are you going to say when you're out here stalking? You're not going to approach that honestly as a psychopath and just, drive off and stop stalking that person. Oh, no, you sit there and engage in more stalking and then you chase them down and try to beg for more attention from me. I'm going to document and prosecute what are psychopaths that are engaged in that P.O.C. This is an entity of demons, though. That's, again, those are the demons that are mad because they want to monitor my vagina. And they're mad because I call that out. You're a homosexual when you're stalking in the women's bathroom, stalking another woman. You are a homosexual predator when you are engaging in stalking another woman in the bathroom, monitoring her vagina. Okay, concerned with what she's doing with her vagina in a bathroom stall, in a bathroom altogether. You are a predator doing that under all circumstances, and that's the state of California. That is, by the way, systematically maintaining a system of sexual violence. And that's what's sitting in that vehicle, speaking as the state, and engaging what is the commercial for deportation, the commercial for federal prison for domestic terrorists, the commercial for mental illness awareness, the entity that fills the state of demons that are psychopaths, that are in violent sex offenders. These are pedophiles. These are those that engage in what, again, he's very likely one that lives in his mama's basement, and he's out roaming the streets, gang stalking, and goes back and watches child porn and masturbates. Okay, and that's how he's acquired this large belly and is roaming in the middle of the night, gang stalking on behalf of the Ontario Police Department. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and those are the demons that are engaging in what are watching people on the dark web. Those are the losers, like I said. Okay, and I don't care who they think they are, even celebrities. You are not a winner because you are some sort of celebrity. That's Satan that's dressed up in a shiny suit. There is nothing impressive about Satan. No demon-possessed celebrity. No demon-possessed politician. No demon-possessed man or woman in any, it doesn't matter what they're driving or where they live or what they do. It's Satan, and it's pathetic. It's the same exact pattern of conduct, by the way. There's no more spectacular or fabulous pattern of conduct for demons that live on Mulholland Drive, for demons that have private jets, for demons that are in office, for demons that star in movies. There's no different pattern of conduct. They're equally disgusting, by the way. They're equally disgusting. They're equally sick and psychopathic and demented. They're equally obsessed with my vagina. Did you know? Yeah, they're equally obsessed. They're equally engaged in pedophilia. They're equally thieving demons. They like to steal and then take credit for what they could never create on their own at all. That's what's sitting up, driving in the middle of the night, stalking me and obsessed with even having my negative attention. You need to understand it's nothing other than Satan that's cloaking himself in the flesh and blood of people that are in need of Christ Jesus. It's Satan, it's a spirit. Okay? The spirit of mental illness, the spirit of sexual perversion, the spirit of the spirit of voyeurism, sitting up and wanting to watch and obsess and wanting to violate another person, wanting to do so. That's a spirit of Satan. Okay, the spirit of obsession. All right, this entity, this spirit of this false sense of identity, this ego. I don't know who told you that you were elite in the first place, and now you're triggered because you're finding out and everybody else is watching how non-elite you are, and you're being humiliated. As you should be, as any sex offender, as any corrupt entity should be. There was never anything impressive about this in the first place. You're murderers and sex offenders and thieves. That's it. You're demons. It's the Nephilim. Okay? So this is the entity that's engaging in that conduct, and it is entirely pathetic that a whole airport is stalking. It's entirely pathetic that a whole city is stalking. It's pathetic that a whole police department is stalking, and that was supposed to be some show of being forceful and bullying, and we're cool and we're winner. No, we're in the hell did you get that? In hell. That's where you got that. And guess what?
You did it all over the internet, and I'm going to drag you in what is a federal tribunal. I'm going to prosecute you for every foul word that came out of your mouth while you were stalking. You don't even have the right to be in my presence and speak. It's audible activity. It's a criminal offense. It's monitoring. And it's the state. You're going to prosecute the state for cussing at you. You're going to prosecute the state for stalking you and then cussing at you. I mean, that's how detailed this pattern of conduct and a prosecution for it is. Every single last word. The state is the one that's threatening you and the one that's harassing and the one that's sexually violating, the one that's monitoring your vagina in the back. That's the state. You're going to prosecute for that. Every single last part of it. It's 11:55 p.m. All right. The entity's engaged in that, and that's because the entity is embarrassed about his gut, knows that I'm documenting him, so I have his appearance on my phone so that you can see this predator up close, and he is acting on behalf of the Ontario Board, the Ontario Executive Team, the Ontario Police Department, the City of Ontario. That's a state actor. Engaging in what is harassment as an entity. As an entity is the key phrase, because that's when you've escalated to federal charges. So the government that's engaged in gang stalking you, not only should not be gang stalking you, but the government needs to watch its mouth while it's gang stalking. You're going to watch your mouth, Satan. Okay? They don't even have a right to gang stalk you in the first place. Oh, you're definitely not going to speak foul to me. You're not going to speak crazy to me while you're gang stalking. You're already on totally the wrong side of the law. Are you kidding me? You're going to prosecute for that. It's the government. Understand, terrorism is not tolerated. Oh, it's just the fact that, oh, the government in the United States has never been exposed for it. Well, guess what? That's what the U.S. government is doing. And foreign and domestic enemies, that's what the document says, and that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. This is P.O.C., and that's the government engaging in harassment. All right, doing so with knowledge that you're being documented, and that's a fool. That's why, again, the flip side of gang stalking with the ordinary, uneducated imbecile with no prospects in life. Okay, again, literally engages in bullying and violating little kids and watching child porn and still living in their mother's basement. And doesn't have any friends. Clearly, you're sitting up in the middle of the night stalking me. What a loser! And then a bunch of losers like that are watching me on the internet, watching targeted individuals on the internet. That's the Nephilim. Those are the hell-bound demons that are losers. They hate their lives. They hate themselves. And I don't care what their life circumstances are. I don't care if they are in movies or on television or have 50 million fans on Facebook, friends on Facebook. They hate themselves. They're demons. They're demons. And they're also too ashamed to let you know that. I'm going to tell you the truth. This is why the demon-possessed are gang stalking. They're envious. They're envious. All right? They're envious, and guess what? Their impending doom, their impending doom remains their impending doom, and they're so mentally ill and they're so envious, they can't even control their obsessions. And the federal government has engaged in sitting back, watching them being prosecuted by me, watching me call out what they're doing as they do it and dictate the punishment for it. That's what the federal government is doing, and that's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. And the federal government is also laughing at them as well. It is currently 11:58 p.m. It's October 9, 2025. This is the entity that's engaged in targeting. I go from the library to 537 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity started targeting at the beginning of the day with the gang stalkers of the Ontario Board, the Ontario Executive Team, and every gang stalking airline. That's going to be dealt with. That's a whole comprehensive prosecution. And the entity is engaging in ending that. As I leave the library, that entity is stalking me, going right back to that address. And replete with the fake moon, okay? The fake moon, replete with that. This is P.O.C. It's 11:58 p.m. Okay, sex offender. First of all, the sexual violence is caused because the entity is monitoring, because this demon is monitoring and doing so in the middle of the night, 12:10 a.m., out engaging in sexual violence in the name of the government. Okay, the government is going to be dealt with. Remember, the people of the state are the ones that are being prosecuted. The government is dealt with. The city of Ontario, it's already in the bag, okay? The people of the state, this is a sex offender engaging in sexual violence while monitoring on my device. License 8, Robert Nancy Edward 995. Gang stalking coming out of nowhere. That's, again, a demon lurking in the dark, lying in wait, present at the same time that I'm engaging in operation on my internet, online, molesting my body with impulsible light activity. The sex offense by demons who are monitoring on your devices and on the internet. And this sex offender in the middle of the night, just like the sex offender before,
before that in the middle of the night, engaging as a population of sex offenders who are all demons, as a society, engaging in surveillance, engaging in demonic behaviors, which are, again, collectively prosecuted as terrorism and ongoing psychological torture. Very disturbing behavior. This is a mentally ill psychopath that's engaging in sexual violence as an entity, license 8RNE 995, doing so pursuant to monitoring. And this is sexual violence and criminal activity that is sponsored by the government. Okay? Doing so at 12:09 a.m. at ARCO. ARCO is also going to be prosecuted. This is 434 North Euclid Avenue, P.O.C.